Hello, everyone, and welcome to an episode of Draft Day. It's been, I think, now a month and a half. Again, these drafts sometimes get postponed because we got a lot of panelists, but this is one we had to make sure we got done in December. Usually, we devote every December to a Christmas-themed draft. This year, we decided let's give our attention, our love to our friends who maybe don't celebrate Christmas. And one of those iconic figures of very rare but few Hanukkah cinema is Mr. Adam Sandler, and we felt like this was the perfect time to do a Sandler draft at the end of the year. In time for Hanukkah and just in general, because this is a topic that a lot of people have been asking for, have been begging, have been wanting. Two of the panelists have been bugging me to death about it in a good way, because it has finally come to fruition. So without further ado, let's get this draft underway for Adam Sandler. And these are going to be a little bit different than a regular draft. We're not going to be drafting movies per se, but we're going to be drafting things within the movies. Just because I'll be honest, I've not seen 25 Adam Sandler movies. I probably could have, but in a quick turnaround, I didn't want to postpone this later. So I figured this is a cool way to kind of condense it a little bit and make it a little easier for those who haven't seen everything. But there are two people I know for sure who have seen everything, because they're the ones who have been bugging me to no end about it, but we love it. We love them for it. We're going to bring in, I'll bring them in both at the same time. Chad and Brian, the two people who have been in my ears for the past 3 years saying we need a Sandler draft. Welcome
Yes,
to
we do.
You've made it now. We're finally here. I'll start with you, Brian. How you feeling, Brian? You excited to be here?
I feel the Shabba doing excited for this. Should be a great time. Shout out to JPO, couldn't make it tonight. He's a big Sandler fan, but yeah, it should be a good time tonight.
Yeah, a lot of Sandler fans couldn't necessarily make it, but my schedule is so crazy that we did have to find the 5 panelists that could, but they are all still huge Sandler fans. I'm probably the least Sandler fan of the 5. Not to say I don't like him, but I just haven't seen as much, so I'm excited to hear everyone else's expertise as well. Chad, how you feeling about this?
A shabadoo to you, Dylan. A shabadoo to you, Brian. I'm very excited to. I don't know. I'm not going to do that whole time. I'm very excited to get this underway. Adam Sandler was one of my first loves in movies, and I for a draft or not a draft, a ranking on my channel that I'll plug later. I watched all of them, and I'd say half good to really good, and half maybe not so great, but I'm excited to see what people pick, because you always have the best categories to choose from. So
thank you. We'll have to see if that comes to fruition. Joining us again, a returning guest. I believe last time we saw him was on the voice acting draft. It's been a little while, but he is back. It is Jacob Barber. How's it going, Jacob?
It's going well. Yeah, in honor of the probably most famous Jew in show business, I decided to wear my Christmas sweater. I felt that was appropriate.
That's fine.
I'm not as big a Sandler fan as probably Chad and Brian. I do have my favorites of his, and I'll get to it. But there's one movie that everybody seems to love of Sandler's that I just absolutely hate, and I cannot wait to talk about that. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. We'll see if that comes up. And joining us for the first time ever on Draft Day. Very excited to finally get him on. I'm in another Discord with him. He's always chatting, always bringing the movie news. I know he's also a football fan, so we're recording this on Sunday Football. We have some football jerseys amongst us. But it is Mr. Jonathan Peck. How's it going, Jonathan?
Doing good. I didn't know we were supposed to wear football jerseys. I could have gotten my Jane Daniels jersey out of my closet so I could get my start out for close but stressful victory. But very good. I've been wanting to do one of these episode videos for a long while. I don't know which specific one should I join into, and once in the Facebook group, it's like, okay, which episode you want to run? It's like, an Adam Sandler episode. I think I should join up with it. Luckily, if you see on this here, I got Adam Sandler Funko version.
Happy Gilmore, right?
You are correct. Yes.
Nice. Very cool. Well, we're happy to have you, Jonathan, as a first timer. Hopefully the first of many. Well, we are all here now, and we're going to commence the draft. But before we get to the draft order, I just want to lay out some rules just so people listening know what categories we're going to be drafting from, and just how the overall draft works for newcomers and those who haven't been with us for a little while. There will be 5 rounds total. There will be a random draft order selected by the wheel, which we'll get to in a sec. I accidentally meant to type 5th pick instead of 7th pick. But whoever has the 5th pick in round 1 will have the first pick in round 2. So it's snakes. So if you are the first pick of the overall draft, you don't get another pick till pick 10. But then you also get picks 11, I believe it's like 16 and 20, I think it is, or 16, 17. I don't remember the numbers. Or it's 1920. I don't know. Anyway, it's snaked. You guys know what that means. We're all sports fans. We're all Sandler fans. Snake draft. These are the categories we have to play on this draft. One, iconic character played by Adam Sandler. Not necessarily the performance, but just we're going for the characters. The most iconic Adam Sandler characters. This could kind of represent your favorite movie or just your favorite character he's created himself. One, leading lady, love interest. So basically the main woman that he's trying to woo, whether it be a girlfriend, wife, spouse, whatever, in the Sandler film. We had a little bit of clarification before the show started on what exactly that meant, so hopefully we won't run into too many vetoes there. One supporting character in the Sandler film, basically anyone else. So anyone that's not a main love interest, anyone that's not Sandler himself, counts for that one. And then one prop slash item from a Sandler film. There are a lot of iconic things related to Sandler. People are wearing them today. People have brought them today. But yeah, one prop slash item for a Sandler film. And then one iconic scene. We're picking a scene, not like a bunch of scenes, not like a whole act. We're talking today about a single scene, but an iconic one nonetheless from a Sandler film. And if anyone does disagree with the pick, if they're like, that's not a scene, that's more of a montage or a few scenes, or they think, maybe that person is not the love interest, maybe she's more of a supporting character, then you know what, we can veto it, but you will need at least 3 of the other 4 people to veto. So let's say Chad is vetoing one of Jacob's picks. He needs either 2 of Brian, Jay, Jonathan, or myself to veto as well in order to overturn it. Basically, that's an example. And please try not to tip picks. It's a little hard when we're talking about one single actor. But don't tip too many picks. Like if you're picking your leading lady, don't like spill and say 3 or 4 names. Just keep it on that one person. Unless we've already talked about them, then we can kind of bounce back and forth. But that is all the rules. Let us get into the wheel itself. I have it up right here. So what's going to happen is whoever I spin will get to choose their place in the draft order. So if we spin Chad first, you don't have to necessarily go first overall. You can pick first, second, third, fourth, or fifth. So without further shabadoo, we are spinning the wheel. And it looks like Brian, the one from the start, will be getting either the fifth pick, but it will be his choice. Brian, where do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go first on this one. Never been first before.
First overall, never been first before. We'll see if that backfires or if that leads him to a Facebook poll victory. As you all know, you can vote on the Facebook poll after the show has concluded airing on YouTube, which will be at the end of this episode. Jacob, you are next. Would you like to go second, third, fourth, or fifth?
I'll go fifth.
All right, so we're going to keep you where you are. So he's getting those back-to-back first or fifth and sixth picks, and it looks like it's going to be going to Chad here. So Chad, would you like to go second, third, or fourth in this draft?
I'll do what our good buddy JD likes to do often. I'll go third.
All right, it's going smack dab in the middle, shabadoo in the middle. All right, so Dylan and Jonathan, it's going to come down to the 2 of us. And Jonathan, luck is on your side today because you will get to decide if you're going second or fourth in the draft order. What would you like to do?
Biggest thing we could go. I'll pick it second.
All right, so I will be fourth. I don't mind the 4th spot. I'm happy with it. So let us commence the Adam Sandler draft. The first pick is on the clock. We don't have a clock, but try to keep it timely. Brian, you get to choose anything. You don't have to go in order of the categories for anyone who.
Yeah.
We're gonna just start with you, Brian. What would you like to pick first?
I will go with between 2. I'll go with supporting character on this one first.
Okay.
And I have my T-shirt. I'll go with Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore for my first pick.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, whenever you think of his character, like even a cameo, he still does the Shooter McGavin character after releases, and he's well known for the character. Each time he's on screen, it's like to see Christopher Nolan on screen, Shooter McGavin. So that's my pick, Shooter McGavin.
Shooter McGavin from Happy. Ooh, I burped. Sorry, I ate dinner before this. Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore, and I think Happy Gilmore 2 coming up soon. So you get a little 2 for there. So when people watch that in 3 years or watch this draft, you'll kind of get a 2 for there. I originally had this as a villain slot instead of a supporting character, and then Brian and Chad both were kind of like, there's not a ton of villains. There's it's very top heavy, so I was like, you know what, good idea. Let's make it all supporting characters. But regardless, I think this is either the number 1 or number 2 villain out there for Adam Sandler. I think he's an iconic villain. When you think of that movie, I think he is the second person you think of from that movie, whereas some might say the leading ladies in other movies maybe take that spot. But I think for Happy Gilmore, Shooter McGavin is like the second person you think of after Happy, or at least for most people. And that's a movie with multiple villains in it as is. So he's the main villain. He stands out, and he does have that iconic kind of trademark thing he does after he puts the ball and stuff like that. Just really brings a great sense of unique style, both in his athleticism and in his performance, and yeah, very menacing, but also easy to laugh at when he royally fucks up. So. Shooter McGavin, number one pick overall. Jonathan, how do you feel about this pick? Shooter McGavin, number one.
Perfect. I'm glad he picked Shooter McGavin because that'll be less stressful when I'm going to pick next. So basically, good choice to you, Brian. Shooter McGavin is very up there, and basically, he's the best shit talking asshole you ever met. By the way you look at him, is like he is a shit talking asshole. By the way you just look at him.
Yeah, there you go. Chad, what do you think of this pick at number one, Shooter McGavin?
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant. If you want to pick a villain for your supporting, then it's hard to do much better than this. There might be like one or two others that I might prefer, but not really. I mean, Shooter McGavin just like Jonathan said, he's like kind of a piece of shit, and he'll go as far as to I'll say he'll steal something from Happy towards the end of the movie, and just run away with it. And and thank God Happy's friend is there to beat the shit out of him. So yeah, he's just hilarious, but like just so menacing, and so yeah, you just want to punch him. So I agree with Jonathan a lot there.
There you go. Jacob, any thoughts on Shooter McGavin, number one overall pick?
I mean, I think it's kind of disrespectful that we're doing an Adam Sandler draft, and Adam Sandler character didn't get drafted number one overall. But I mean, I guess if you're gonna pick a supporting character, you can't go wrong with Shooter McGavin. I think he is one of the best villains in an Adam Sandler movie, and I think portrayed perfectly by Christopher McDonald. I think he does him so well. I didn't have him on my list personally because once I saw supporting side character, I was like, well, there's a lot more that. Cause I know you put a poll out there. I know that. And sometimes people draft for the poll. That's not what I do. I like to just draft people that I enjoy watching. And so that's kind of how I went with my list. But if it was just villains, like Shooter McGavin is number one. So I'm glad you kind of changed it. But yeah, you can't be mad at the pick.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. Yeah, some people like to look at the poll, especially for these like top few picks, and then like towards the end it gets a little more personal. But I agree with you, Jacob. I think you got to go personal, especially for something that is so near and dear as Adam Sandler fans hold him to their heart. So yeah, a little bit of a surprise there, Brian, going supporting first. But of all the supporting characters, if you wanted to pick an iconic villain, you definitely did it. Was there any strategy in that, Brian? Did you always want Shooter first, or was it more so?
No, between a few lists for. I between two characters, so I decided to go with the easiest one first to get it out of the way in case it make us all further rounds down the line.
So letting other people kind of chip away at your Sandler picks,
exactly,
make it easier for yourself. I like that. I like that strategy as well. All right, Jonathan, you are next on the clock, and you are a first-time drafter here. So let us hear your first pick ever here on draft day. Who is going to be your first pick, or what is going to be your first pick? Because two of these categories are not people. But what is going to be your first pick, Jonathan, for this draft?
I'm going to go a scene from an Adam Sandler movie.
Okay.
The one specific scene I did is there's only one thing. If I want to first think of an Adam Sandler scene, I usually think of this. And I got two special people to show me my point on this.
Yes.
Yes, I picking Bob Barker kicking the shit out of Adam Sandler and Happy Gilmore. And basically, it is not only is one of the funniest parts of the movie, and is one of the sort of unexpected cameos in the film, though, it's kind of helped both of them in the film the more you realize it. And the reason I said that because people kind of know Bob Barker from The Price is Right, basically, and it's kind of like if you watch The Price is Right early in the morning, basically, type of thing. So basically, one of those shows that basically you watch early in the morning when you get sick, or basically don't feel like to go anywhere. So basically, we show up at Happy Gilmore, and a little fun fact about Bob Barker, by the way, his personal trainer is Chuck Norris, believe it or not. And
wow.
Little detail. Don't believe me. Look it up. That's true. And basically, maybe even younger people who saw Happy Gilmore in the big screen, and Bob Barker it is, and you saw that scene in front of them, and it's like, holy shit, this old guy just kicked the shit out of him. Basically, it was just more surprising. Not only is the funniest part of the film is before the fight happened, basically Barker just ran on Happy, which basically is a mistake during a special golf tournament, even though its outside factors kind of interfere that. But still, it kind of sort of build up until Happy has started enough. It just kicked the shit out of it, and it just sounds like it puts him on the ground, and it sounds like it keeps wearing him, and almost like 5 minutes. So basically, it's like, and they thought Happy was one. It's like, the price is wrong, bitch. And basically just jumps him on his luck. And basically it's like, I think you had enough. And it just punches him. It's like, bitch. And not only is the funniest part of the film, it kind of sort of rejuvenate the Price is Right ratings wise. Like, look at it all last couple of years of Price is Right episodes Bob Barker post 96. If you start looking at the audience of more younger people who watch it, because I have a theory that they watch Happy Gilmore and then basically very interested to go on to the Price is Right because of it. So now we
Oh,
kind of help them right here. So if you watch it though, you're starting to sort of notice more younger people in the audience. So I'm
that's
good.
cool. Yeah, get a younger crowd interested in an older show by putting the older person of that show on a younger show. I like that idea. Like put Seacrest on what is it, like
Wheel of
the
Fortune.
card, yeah, the wheel, or put Seacrest on Kardashian to get people to watch Wheel of Fortune or something like that. I don't know. Or American Idol. Yeah, but that's a good reverse psychology. I love that. Like Bob Barker now is a younger crowd favorite because he was in a younger crowd movie like Happy Gilmore. Yeah, that was my number one scene on the board. I think it's one of the best scenes in all the Adam Sandler movies because it also has that surprise factor, like you said, like Bob Barker of all people to beat him up. Like, so I definitely think this is a worthy number 2 pick, and I think of the scenes, this was my number 1. It's gonna be hard because I want to kind of give representation to every single like
Yeah.
movie
Same.
I love. So it's like I'm
Yes.
trying to think, okay, so now that's off the board. So where can I award Happy Gilmore? Because now it's been 2 picks back to back Happy Gilmore. But there's a reason it's the first 2 picks because I think it's one of his most iconic. So yeah, anyone have thoughts on the Bob Barker fight? I'll go reverse this time. I'll start with Jacob.
Can we start over? Can we go back to the wheel and because I was hoping to get this one. This was the
Okay.
when I saw the categories, I was like, this was the first thing I thought of. Like that was an easy insert this at number 1. I love Happy Gilmore. It's one of my favorite movies. It's my favorite Sandler movie. So now I'm starting to regret picking number 5 because it's like, is there going to be anything from Happy Gilmore left?
Chad and I are going to take the lead in the leading lady. Yeah. There are some props from Happy Gilmore.
There are. So it's like I got to start.
And some more supporting characters as well for Happy Gilmore as well.
Right. Yeah, Happy Gilmore's chock full of good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Seems like it was
great
Jacob's
pick.
number 1 scene too. Yeah. Chad, was this your number 1 scene, or was it up there?
I actually didn't put this down on my board, but I had a rough time with scenes, and then when I was thinking of them, I was like, well, I got to get a Happy Gilmore one in there, and I thought of a different one. I won't say what it is, but I don't know if I'm gonna pick a Happy Gilmore scene now that one's already been picked. Although, this is definitely a great scene. This is like one of the top 2, I think, if not the number 1. And I think this was a very smart pick from Jonathan, because I think everyone knows the scene, even if you really haven't seen the movie or haven't, seen a lot of other Sandler movies, you probably have seen this one. And, it's really funny. It was like a 70-year-old guy beating up a 20-year-old something or 30-year-old, whatever. I think he was like in his 20s, right, at that time. Yeah, the price is wrong, bitch is such an iconic line. And then just the way they film it is just so funny. So yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah. Brian, any thoughts on the Bob Barker fight? Was it on your list?
It was all about list too, but I like another scene more for the Happy Gilmore. I think each I maybe have to say my thing for that. But yeah, even the TV ads says price is wrong, bitch. The price is wrong, Bobby. For TV ads. And there's also a clip out there back in 2015 where it had this telethon for reunited Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler, Bob Barker reunited feuding again in the hospital. If you guys seen it.
I have not seen that. The charity event, hospital.
Not Thousand Stars, I think it's called.
Cool. I'll have to check that one out. So there you go. Bob Barker is getting the number 2 pick for his fight. He is still eligible in another category should someone pick him, but we are now moving on to Chad with his number 1 pick here. Already a supporting character and a scene off the board, but you still have all the leading ladies, you still have all the Adam Sandler roles, and you have a bunch of props as well as plenty of others for the other categories. So what are you going to go with, Chad?
Yeah, I've been torn. I've been Natalie and Bruglia about this, for a minute, just sitting there while we're talking about '90s films, trying to figure out like which category to go with, and then which one to go with from the category. I think I'm gonna do my prop, and there's one that I really really love that I was thinking about picking, and then there's another that I really really love, but because it's more like iconic props, I feel like I'm gonna go with the one that I feel like is more iconic from an older movie. So I'm gonna pick a Big Daddy prop, and I think it might be a top prop, and I'm gonna go with Scuba Steve.
All right, Scuba Steve.
Okay.
All right, Chad, tell us about it.
Thanks. Yeah. It's a very simple prop, of course. It's just a toy. But it is the one that Sonny Koufax has to give to Julian to take a bath with. And not only does he have the toy, but at one point, Sonny dresses up as Scuba Steve. So it's not just a prop, but it's like also a costume, and it's really an idea. It's like, if you take a bath, don't you want to take a bath with your own Scuba Steve? So you can pretend that you are a scuba diver. And at one point, Sonny also steps on it and goes, "Damn you, Scuba Steve!" And it's I don't know, it's iconic. I love it from that movie that I adore.
Love it. Yeah, Chad and I, we watched this for an episode of Frame Rec that you guested on with me and Matt. And honestly, we watched it so long ago now that like Scuba Steve wasn't even on my list because I didn't think of it, because that was not a movie that I grew up with. Like I haven't had Big Daddy in my life as long as that sounded bad. I haven't had the film Big Daddy in my life for as long as I'm sure a lot of you have. So it wasn't on my list, but now that you recall it, now that I'm recalling the prop, like it is an iconic prop. It's also the prop of that movie. I think it helps when there's like one central iconic prop per movie, where some like there's a few little minor props, but I think it's a good pick. Brian, what did you think of Scuba Steve?
Yeah, it was almost on this as well for Scuba Steve. It also made a Funko Pop as well by Scuba Sam instead of Scuba Steve. But yeah, Big Daddy's my third favorite Sandler film. I do love the prop. It's a good pick, Chad. So yeah.
Great. Jonathan, any thoughts on Scuba Steve?
It's not the prop I was thinking of, to be honest with you. I didn't even put it considered my 5 props that I think of an Adam Sandler film. So it was just never sort of there. I will personally will think of, but I'll put on go concede on that.
Yeah, no worries. Jacob, any thoughts on Scuba Steve? Was it on your list?
It was, yeah. It wasn't the top prop on my list, but it was it was on my list, and it's a focal point of the movie. Scuba Steve is, so it's like it's important to the plot as well. It's not just something that's there just to be there. And so yeah, it was definitely on my list. I was considering it. Not the prop I thought was gonna go number one, but I'm not mad at the pick at all. I think it's a great pick.
Cool. All right. So Scuba Steve, the first prop off the board. We got a prop, we got a scene, we got a villain / supporting character. I'm up next. I'm actually going to dip back into a category that is already picked from. Also because kind of along Brian's logic, like there's so many great Sandler characters that I'm fine whittling that down. And leading ladies, there's still a bunch as well. And supporting, there's a bunch. For me, it's like the prop. I have one that I'm very passionate about. And I also think, for me, it's like I'm not as well versed in Sandler. So there's like 3 movies that I like need to represent as my top 3 Sandler films. So I'm thinking of those 3, which is going to be the easiest to get versus hardest to get. So I'm kind of gauging it that way. I'm like, I think my main character is safe. I think my leading lady's safe for now. I hope Jacob doesn't take her on the wraparound. So I'm going to go with my prop because I think it's the easiest one to get stolen from me. So that's a little strategy in my head. And I'm going to go with, I think, arguably his most iconic prop in a movie. It's the only titular prop of a movie, and it is Click. It is the Universal Remote. Looks like it was a good play because Jacob just said, okay, I was really worried I was going to go with that or my leading lady, and I'm really glad I
Very
went with
Dylan
that.
pick.
Yeah, Click is one of my top 3 Sandler films. So for me, it was like I wanted to represent it. It is the Sandler film that got me into his movies. So I think like it has that special place in my heart because that was the movie that I discovered when I was 8 years old, I think it was. And I saw it for the first time and I was like, wow, like this is like my new favorite movie. And like I would learn later, like there was definitely some issues with it. It's not the best movie he's ever made, obviously. But I do think, you know, it is my personal, like the one that got me into Sandler. So I wanted to kind of pay respect to that. And because I know there are still so many props, but I think of all the props, there are 2. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's a second titular prop. But I do think, you know, this one, it's all in the title, Click. It's all about the remote. The remote drives the story. It is the function of the story. And judging on gameplay, I think I made a good choice because it sounds like Jacob might have wanted it. So I will turn it over to you, Jacob. Was this going to be one of your next 2 picks?
Yeah, I
Oh,
was gonna go with the remote from
it paid off.
Click.
I'm sorry, man.
So yeah, no, great pick. Yeah, two two of my picks have been taken in round 1, and I'm not sure if I want to be here anymore.
Oh, no.
But I'll figure it out. No, it's still good. There's still lots of stuff on the board. I think it's a great pick. Like when I think iconic, and and you know something that is such a pivotal part of the movie. I mean, like it's basically without it there is no movie. So I mean, it's a great pick. I don't fault you for taking it at all. I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed.
I'm sorry. All right, Chad, what do you think of? I know we've talked tangentially about Click, but I really don't know where you fully feel about Click. But what do you think of the remote as a prop? Obviously, very iconic one. But what do you?
Well, I mean, Click the movie, I think is good, not great, but there's just issues that I have with it as far as like the bashing of the tones a little bit.
Mhm.
Although it's still a very fun movie, and I really, really enjoy watching it. And I do think it does able to hit on the heartstrings and stuff at times, as well as make you laugh. So there you go. And I think the central remote is like, I mean, you can't have the movie without it, and so it's perfect for that. Like if you want a very plot heavy prop, it's used a lot and it's really cool. It's cool what it can do. It's also scary what it can do because of what happens to the character in the movie. So it's with great power comes great responsibility with this remote. And it's really cool. I mean, you have to go with the prop that Christopher Walken gives you. So there you go.
That's right. Brian, any thoughts on the Click remote?
Yeah, Chad stole my line about Christopher Walken sells it to you, but yeah, overall, it's the main focus of the movie. After you with Jacob, without the remote, there's no movie, no plot about it. But Click for me is like a mid-static film for me, but the portray for me. So it's a good prop, anyways.
Gotcha. Was it in your potential prop to play?
No, I didn't have it because had a hard time find some props for this category.
Gotcha. Chad, was this in your 5 for props or not really?
It actually wasn't, but I only had 4. Gotcha. So I was trying to think of another one. It didn't come to mind, even though, like you said, it's the title of the movie.
Yeah,
it should have come to my mind.
There is another titular prop. I'm excited to see if it gets played. Jonathan, any other thoughts on the remote?
The remote, I had it on there, and I will not do what happens to Santa's character. Well, I'm using it way too much, so basically I'm using it sparingly if I feel like it. So.
Very smart. As it should be. You go Bed Bath Beyond, not quite that far beyond, but
yes.
You got to be, as Chad said, great power comes great responsibility. All right, Jacob. Well, you did get 2 sniped picks with Bob Barker and with the Click remote, but you now get 2 picks back to back, which will be yours no matter what, pending vetoes. So, Jacob, you will let us know what your first pick here in round 1 is going to be to close out round 1.
It seems odd doing an Adam Sandler draft and not drafting an Adam Sandler character in the first round.
That's fair.
So let's do that. I'm going to go with the leading lady.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Julia Sullivan from The Wedding Singer, I think. When you said leading lady, love interest, the first romance that came to mind was the one from The Wedding Singer. I think it's their best. Obviously, I don't. You said not to tip picks, but I think everyone knows they've worked together,
right?
again, and so there's a couple more options to choose. I think this is the best they've been together, Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler. I think she portrays this character perfectly. I love the romance. Not, I mean, and yeah, I think she's just perfect in this role. I totally buy the romance. Even though she's with somebody else, like you can feel the chemistry between her and Sandler the entire time. And yeah, this was number one on my leading lady list. I had to get number one in something. So yeah, this was a no brainer for me when it came to leading ladies. So probably not. I don't know if it's the number one for others, but it was for me. I absolutely love this movie. So
Yeah, I definitely think she's a top fiver. I haven't even. I mean, this is like a shameful like admission. I still have not seen The Wedding Singer, but I've seen the musical so many times, so I know who this character is. I know her function in the story and everything. So it's a great dynamic. So I think just knowing the popular culture out there, I think this was a smart pick because with 8 picks between you, I don't necessarily know if it would have gotten back to you. We'll see. But Chad, was this going to be one of your considerations for leading lady?
This was my number one. Yeah,
All right.
This
Smart move, Jake.
This is like the perfect pick. I adore The Wedding Singer. I mean, it's always fighting for my number one. It might be. I just think it's like perfectly written. I think that character is just so great. It is the best of the three Drew Barrymore characters. I won't say the others' names. It's just, I don't know. She's just so sweet, and yet just basically getting taken advantage of. But she's her own character too. I think she passes the Bechdel test. I'm not sure. But it's like, yeah, she's so sweet. They fit together so well, her and Robbie. And I think that's why it not only is this like maybe my favorite Sandler movie or like my number 2, I guess I would say generally. But it's like one of my favorite like rom-coms of all time. And you don't get like a perfect like rom-com in my opinion if you don't have like the perfect I don't want to say leading lady because you might not always be heterosexual, but if it is going to be the perfect leading lady in this. And so this was a phenomenal pick. Jacob swiped it from me, but I'm not mad about it because it's such a great pick, and I would have done the same thing.
Yeah. Jonathan, any thoughts on Drew Barrymore as Julia Sullivan in The Wedding Singer?
Well, nothing I can add more to that. It was already said though. They do put a great rapport on the way on the film, and you saw that in the film. And basically, I do love what she's her. I'd say naivety, but it's like, but it's a little more adolescent throughout the film. Basically, what he does throughout it. So, I will put up a great choice for her. Yeah.
There you go. Brian, any thoughts on Julia?
Yeah, Julia Goody was in my list. She's at number. She was my top 5 for her. But
Okay.
yeah, this is if you go for the late, this is the what was the color ones to do. Yeah, I agree. Yellow Pals have good chemistry, so yeah, it's a great pick.
Nice. Well, Jacob, you do get back-to-back picks. You will get to also get your top pick in another category, or maybe your second pick in a category that you wanted. What are you going to go for to start off round 2 here?
Yeah, there's a few where I think my top pick is safe. I'm tempted to go with an iconic character played by Sandler, but I think there's so many of those that I'm okay waiting till it comes back around. I'm also gonna go prop actually, I think.
Okay.
And I will go again another titular prop. I will go with the gem from Uncut Gems.
Absolutely. The black opal.
Yeah, the black opal. I mean, it plays such a pivotal part in the movie. Without it would just be called Uncut, and who knows what that movie would be about. So,
oh God, yeah, I don't know.
And he's Jewish, so
yeah, honestly,
yeah,
it's a great pick. I mean, I think it was between that and the remote for me. If someone sniped the remote, I was gonna pick this. As I said, there are 2 titular props. It's the click remote. It's the uncut gem. I mean, this is another one where I feel like the whole story is driven by that one thing. It causes so much of the drama, so much of the tension, so much of the suspense. Yeah, and it looks so beautiful. Like they do a good job showcasing the prop. It looks as ominous as it is, you know, and I think
Yeah.
that's really awesome about it. And I like that we get some newer Sandler rep also on the list. I won't tip other picks on that could be taken from this movie, but yeah, I'm glad this movie's represented so high on the list. It was definitely my number 2 prop, so I'm happy that my top 2 props went in the first 3 prop picks. So Brian, was this in consideration for you, the gem in Uncut Gems, the Black
Yeah,
Bubble?
it was in my list actually. Yeah, as Jacob said, if it's not the gem, there will be no movie. The basic part of it. Yeah, and also part of the plot, like it's like Kevin Garnett's Wake. He's a big fan of. Yeah, it was on my list, so it's a good pick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jonathan,
shout out to
any
Kevin Garnett.
any thoughts on Uncut Gems, the gem in Uncut Gems?
Yeah, it was my number 1 prop on my list.
Wow.
So
Okay.
basically, I would have picked that if it was going back to me. Yes, the gem itself is basically what happens. Can I just say anything? Spoilers. What happened?
I think we're okay. Yeah, I think anyone watching this is enough of a Sandler fan that if they haven't
It's
seen it,
6 years old, the film.
that's
So,
on
yeah.
them.
All
You
right,
know.
okay, we'll spoil it.
Yeah.
His character dies, gets shot, and basically, if you look through the great final shot in the film, basically to the gem very, very carefully, you have sort of like great expanded uh diamonds and detailing inside that gem, basically.
Mhm.
So basically, it was a great, beautiful kind of like artifact from the scene we saw in real life, though. So I would have put that if they would get back to me on it. So yeah, that's my take on the gem.
Yeah, I love what you said about like it being like this final image you fixate on it, and it's the opening image as well, I believe, like just them mining for it, which is really cool. And then it goes into the colonoscopy, you know, just a genius movie. So it was on Brian's list. It was number 1 on Jonathan's. Jacob's number 2. It looks like my number 2. Chad, where was this on your list?
I actually didn't put it on my list.
Oh wow,
But then
okay.
again,
Okay.
like I said, I had just a few, and I didn't. I don't know. I didn't think of the titular ones for some reason. I was very bad at thinking of props,
You're good.
and now it just feels so obvious. Would this be classified as a MacGuffin, Dylan? This gym?
Yes and no. Like I feel like yes, because it's a thing that drives the story, but maybe there is an argument to be had that it actually does cause this magical juju. Maybe it's not all psychological and heady.
Mm,
Maybe I would say yes, but I think that's the beauty of the film is that you don't know for sure if it's a MacGuffin or if there actually is some
yeah.
real like power to it. And I think that's what makes it all the more intriguing. I think most would say there isn't, that it is a MacGuffin. Because and I think Adam Sandler is the one who's fooled into thinking it's more than that, and Garnett. But I don't know. Like I love how it plays in superstition and all that stuff as well. You know, just the whole
Yeah.
idea is just merely a thing, or does it have some eternal, almost spiritual value to it? I think that's really cool.
Yeah, he sure does love that gem. So
Yeah.
he gets so excited about it.
He's
But
obsessed
yeah,
over it.
Oh,
yeah,
KG,
and
KG, KG, KG. Look at this, KG. Yeah.
yeah. So it's definitely a great pick because you know, it is the centerpiece of the movie, and it's beautiful to look at. There you go.
There you go. Yeah, beautiful picks. Back to back, Jacob. Very, very strong picks. It's back to me, and it's tough because, like I said, I have 3 movies I want represented on my board. One of them is Click. Another one, I feel like just based on because I have Chad, Jonathan, and Brian after me. I'm just thinking between my leading lady and my Sandler performance or character, which one's more likely to get sniped? Judging by your comments on Jacob's pick for Julia, I feel like my leading lady might be safe, but I only really heard Chad's and Brian's opinion on it. I don't know if Jonathan's going to snipe it. So I'm going to be safe and pick that because I also think this is the only category I would pick this movie in. This was my second Adam Sandler movie I discovered. I watched it on a plane. I fell in love with it. It is 50 First Dates. I know everyone says that Julia is everyone's favorite leading lady, but mine will always be Lucy Whitmore, also played by Drew Barrymore. So that's going to be my pick. Also because I just deep down, I know if like a few of like the big heavy hitters get sniped, there's a worry that back and forth, you guys might take her, even if she's not your number 1 or 2. Like I'm just worried she's on enough of your 5s that I might lose her just because Drew Barrymore. There's a reason she's in so many of his movies, because they have such a good rapport and a good chemistry, as everyone said. So I'm gonna go with this. This was like the one that like introduced me to the Sandler rom-com. I know Click is also kind of a rom-com, but it's more about this one man's journey and exploration of self and family, whereas this one is a strict rom-com. It's about a romantic partnership. And I just always loved this one. I always thought this one was just so charming, always brought me to tears. Great premise, but also one that I feel like could been abused to make something a lot worse and like kind of problematic, because it's all about this woman not having agency to consent because she just literally relives the same day over and over. But I think they do it really tastefully, and I think it's because the two of them sell the chemistry so well. Even when they're meeting for the first time every day, there is still this like, it kind of goes to the whole like soulmate thing where like they still feel like they belong for each other even though she doesn't know. And I think that's really cool. I think most of these characters would be taken advantage of by the characters in the movie and the writers in general, but I think because of Drew Barrymore, because of just how well written this is, I think she has agency, and I think that's really cool. And I think despite it having a lot of great performances, a lot of great characters, I think that is still the reason I go back to that movie is for Lucy. I just think she's just such a dynamic character, so I'm gonna pick her because I do think my Adam Sandler character, I feel like I can get it back on round 3. I don't know if I'll get her back on round 3. So, and I'm okay with my supporting and my scenes. So that's where my head's at. But I will turn it over to y'all. Brian, was this on your list, Lucy, in 50
No,
First Dates?
she wasn't, but I wonder if that's Chad will pick her character from Blend did. So all three of the two Barrymore characters get taken away. But yeah, 50 First Dates is a decent walk call for her. It's a top 10 Sandler for me. I do love Slider a lot in the movie. But yeah, if your brother is Samwise Gamgee, you get points there. So it's a good pick. Yes.
Yeah, this is my top 3 Sandler. If I didn't make it, no, I said I wanted to go for 3 picks, but like this is because it is one of my top 3. So I'm glad it's in your top 10, Brian, of movies, even if it wasn't on your list. Chad, you kind of indicated that Julia was the best of her roles, but was this also on your list as a potential?
It was, yeah.
Okay, good.
This is like my number 4.
Okay, good. All right, I feel relieved
you would
now.
have been fine. But
okay.
But you never know. Maybe I might have pivoted. No, yeah, you said it perfectly. How you explained why this movie works the way it does, and it might not have, but it's just so well written and acted, and the chemistry is so great. And that's, I mean, even in the one that Brian mentioned, the chemistry's still really great. It's just, when you rank them, you're like, there's like 2 that I think are like perfect. I would rank Julia over Lucy, but like just slight, because Lucy is also a very great character. I love how she portrays her like with such care, and his character we're not gonna say his character's name, are we?
You never know.
His character is also so very sweet, and I just love how he's so respectful of her, and like you can really feel that like they like a love is forming. It's not just this thing where he's just trying to like get with her or anything like that. And then you kind of fall in love with her life and her family, and it's because she's the central figure that they all operate around. And I don't know, this is a great pick. It's a very Dylan pick, but I love that because it's just perfect. I love Drew Barrymore. She's so great.
Yeah. Jonathan, was this on your list? Moment of truth. Would I have maybe lost it?
No, you have not. Basically, no, you haven't. Yeah, I don't think you haven't lost it. But it's not, to be honestly, not the first one I could think of for me. But I would say though, like that was a very. I do want to piggyback what you said about their Dylan. It's like it's a very tightrope character that could have gone very easily, kind of gone poorly with it, and basically it could have gone, not say fell flat, but kind of failed at it when it's a balanced act to do it. So I will always get the movie credit for basically doing the little bit of tightrope. It was a very kind of a unique premise in general when I found bailing out of the condition of it, basically.
Yeah,
especially near the end of the movie.
Yeah, so it sounds like I probably could have waited till round 3 or 4 to get her, but I'm happy with it. I love this movie so much. I wanted high on my draft board regardless. But Jacob, I know you already picked your leading lady, and you also picked Drew Barrymore of all people. But how do you feel about this? Was it Lucy Whitmore going round 2?
Great pick. She's my number 2. So if I didn't get, if I didn't get Julia, I would have taken Lucy. I think her and Sandler just work so well together. Even in Blended, as we've talked about, the movie might not be the best, but they're still really good together. And I hope we're not, like you said, don't tip picks. I'm not sure if anyone looked at Blended and was like, I want that movie represented on my list.
Maybe.
But maybe it's true. So
We'll see.
I'll stop talking about Blended now. No, great pick. I think it's fantastic.
Thank you. All right, I feel better about it now. I could have gambled, but it's okay. And now I'm just hoping my Sandler character doesn't get picked because that's the one I was saving for round 3. We'll see. But Chad, you are next, so let's see what you do.
So I'm not picking something because I think that this pick is not going to get picked or is going to get picked soon. But I'm just thinking about like my draft board and just thinking about, well, maybe, because I actually had this, I'll say it's a person because I'm going supporting performance. I had this performance ranked number 4,
Character.
but then like I was, character ranked number 4. And I was like looking through, and because a prop that I was gonna pick was from like the movie, I was like, well, I'll pick this person from this movie because I don't know, I just saw it in my head that this is one that I want. Despite there being a lot of great supporting that I was thinking about maybe grabbing, but I'm gonna go with this one, and I'm gonna go with from. Actually, this could be high up on Dylan's list. I'm not sure. From Hubie Halloween. Okay, go. Of course.
She's in my 5 if it's who I think you're picking.
Okay, June Squibb.
Yes, she's my number 5.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that, Chad. Hubie's mom, right? Is that all she is?
Yes.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, Hubie Dubois, Mrs. Dubois. There's so many great ones, and I'm sure some of them will get picked now. But I don't know. I just thought she was like so sweet. I love June Squibb. She was in Thelma this year, and she's just so great. Was she like 93 and still like turning out great performances?
96.
She 96. Good Lord, June.
Yeah.
Man, going strong. And then knock on wood. So I just love her character in this, where she goes
95,
from like this
95.
Okay. She goes from like this really, really sweet lady that just wears these comical shirts about boners and stuff like that. And just like, it's just a really, really funny throwaway joke that they keep doing. She just doesn't understand what that is. It's like, maybe it's when you make a mistake. So I love her kind of like clueless humor that she has at times, but she's also very like inspiring with to Hubie. She loves Hubie so much, and she just wants to see him, be treated better and everything. And it kind of feels like, it's a what do you call it? Like a maybe like a mirror of Sandler's own mom kind of a deal. Like I feel like every mother character that he has in movies, it's like maybe a little bit of his own mother and stuff. So it kind of really feels like she could be his mom. And then a little bit of a spoiler for Hubie Halloween, she becomes kind of the villain also, where she decides she wants to torch a lot of these assholes that decided to pick on Hubie. And so she must be stopped because she's gonna burn people to death. It takes a crazy turn, but she's just doing it for her little boy, and I don't know. It's just something about June, just like in everything she does, with Nebraska, this Thelma. She's just so great and so sweet. And I saw her being on my draft board, and I was like, that's the one.
Yeah, I really want to read off all her t-shirts because I have a whole like folder of them because I love them, but they are props, so I'm not gonna do that until later.
Still.
Yeah, I won't tip picks, but if no one drafts any of her t-shirts, I will afterwards rattle off my favorites because she is just excellent. And any thoughts, Jonathan? Any thoughts on Hubie's mom and Hubie Halloween? Have you seen this one?
I have actually. Chad's right. And basically, she's basically playing a Scooby-Doo villain, basically.
Yeah.
They want to actually kill them, and I do find it so funny, a little abrupt, but that has kind of made the comedy pretty kind of sweet in the same time, though. And then basically, even if he does succeed, it's like, oh, well, we understand it. So I I think it's a very good choice by Chad, though.
Love it. Jacob, any thoughts on Hubie's mom?
No, I haven't seen it, but I
Gotcha.
do love June Squibb, and yeah, Thelma was fantastic. If you haven't seen it yet, go check
Love
it out.
that. Shabadoo expert up there. Have you seen
Yeah.
Hubie Halloween? Are you a
I
fan of
have.
Hubie's mom?
I am a fan of Hubie Halloween. It's a great family movie. We'll probably talk about it on a different show, different channel for Hubie Halloween. But yeah, it's perfect. It's a good pick, Chad. But yeah, if she was a Scooby-Doo villain, she had to have a mask on anyways to be taken off. But yeah. But yeah, still an interesting pick for a sporting character. I didn't have no Hubie Halloween characters on my list though.
Yeah, I put her on my list just as like a fun, like, if all my picks are taken, you know. So who knows? Well,
Whatever.
actually, no, it's picked, so I can't pick it. But like, who knows if it would have been my pick? I like that it is represented, of course, also because it represents more movies as well. We're not just picking from the same well. I was worried after we did picks 1 and 2 Happy Gilmore. I was like, oh shoot, are we just going all Happy Gilmore? But now we've had 6 unique films since, so that's good on our list. So now we can pick back into old pools or stay in some new ones. Jonathan, what is going to be your next pick here on the draft?
I'm toying with this idea, though. I'm gonna go with props, but I'm very toying with which type of props should I use. I don't know if people react to it, but I'm gonna go a little unconventional prop from one of his movies. I'm picking the Mean Machine's uh, jersey, actually. I'm not going his specific jersey. I'm going to do one of his teammates' jersey, X, whereby Bill Goldberg in The Longest Yard remake. And I actually do like the jersey uniform design, though, basically. It's like one of these cool things I could have wear, basically, out just going out a casual day, basically. So, and plus, it's kind of better than the Waterboard jersey right here. Don't at me on that. So, and basically, I'm gonna go with the Mean Machines football jersey, basically,
Yeah,
specifically the Bill Goldberg one.
gotcha. Is it the one that says Goldberg 71, or is it the Battle X, or which one is
Battle
it?
X. Battle X.
This one?
Yes.
Okay, so the Battle X jersey from The Longest Yard. Yeah, I've never seen this one, so this is one I have to add to my list. But yeah, I mean, obviously Sandler's such a big sports guy that I'm sure there were going to be a lot of sports props, at least in consideration, either props used in the sport or things he wore. Obviously, clothing is props as well, in this sense. So I think it's good to have a clothing pick, an iconic outfit. I can't speak on the iconography because I haven't seen it, but I'm sure others can. Brian, is this an iconic prop? What do you think of the Battle X jersey?
Yeah, the jersey's okay. I prefer the one for the Raw Boy more, but yeah, it's a jersey worn by professional wrestler Bo Goldberg, and yeah, The Longest Yard is a decent remake. You'll probably enjoy Dyl, but yeah, it's a good pick.
Cool. Chad, you're wearing a jersey right now. Did you have this on your list for props?
When you said props, I did not consider clothing. I just didn't
Gotcha.
think about clothing as a
here.
prop, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that it's not. I mean, that's kind of like a cool, inventive, like it's a thing, you know. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick that jersey. So I think that's really cool. I'm not. I didn't think of it, of obviously. But I did. Obviously, Dylan showed the jersey, and I was looking up some of the jerseys that they wear in the movie, and it's really cool design. I think this one is as well. Maybe someone will pick that. But you know, yeah, cool pick.
Yeah. To be fair, I did say a prop / item, but even that item, you don't always go to article of clothing. But yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
also like, you know, just wearing a regular hat, whatever. But I think if it's like an iconic outfit that you wear over and over, it's like, it's not the outfit if it's like the single item. Like if you were to say his uniform, maybe not a prop, but like his jersey itself, I guess, should count. Like I'm not gonna veto it, even though I don't know the movie
Yeah.
well. But yeah, it's an unconventional way to think about the category. I didn't have any clothing on my list either, except for the June Squibb t-shirts, but that's already been kind of mentioned. So it's a cool way to interpret the category also. Jacob, thoughts on this Project X Battle X jersey?
Yeah, no, I didn't think of anything from The Longest Yard when I was making my list, but I respect the pick. I think it's a unique pick. Picking a clothing item, bring some variety. I do like the remake. Funny enough, I've seen this, but not the original. So this is the only longest yard that I know. I think it's a good movie. I do love that, and being a wrestling fan, anytime there's wrestlers in movies, I'm gonna check it out. And yeah, Goldberg, while not the greatest professional wrestler, I think he can play a good mean bad guy, and I think he does a good job here. So I like the pick.
There you go.
Hey Dylan, have you
That's-
seen the
that's-
original?
I have not seen either. No.
I was gonna say, Jacob, that's Santa Slay's Bill Gilbert to you.
No, it's
Yeah.
Gunther's next opponent, Goldberg.
Nice. Chad, have you seen the original or no?
No, I want
No,
to
okay.
though.
Gotcha. And I was about to ask you if you've seen the remake, but I remember you and Brian just watched all of them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I shouldn't
You
ask.
watch it for
if
the
anyone's
Best
seen it.
Worst show.
Yeah, there you go. Alrighty, Brian. Speaking of watching everything, let us hear your pick since you have everything to choose from. Since you've seen everything,
Yep.
you've gotten your supporting character, so you get the whole rest of the board is open to you.
I will go with Scene on this one.
Okay.
And how question, Dyl? Do you have any more gum? I'll go with the more gum sequence from Billy Madison. This is a great
Hell
sequence.
yeah.
How it starts all dramatic with Veronica Vaughn being a Billy, and then transfer to a musical number. Yes, I will go back to school and achieve victory. You get the sound creep back. You get the background. You get Juanita singing in the background. Overwhelmed. It's a great sequence. So yeah, that's my scene for Billy Madison.
Excellent pick. Yeah, the first two I wrote down were Bob Barker and the musical number from Billy
Yep.
Madison. So, yeah, it's iconic moment. I think it's also a memorable one because it's so weird and out of the box in the
Yes.
moment it happens. So, and really well shot. Like I think it's honestly like a very good musical sequence. Like I think they have good ideas of framing. They're not cutting all over the place. They have a good lighting and great array of people and kids. It sounds good. So yeah, a good musical sequence. I'll give it to them. We don't see many in Adam Sandler musical sequences, unless it's like a movie about a musician like Wedding Singer. So I really like the fact that we get this random big musical Broadway number in the middle of Billy Madison, which already has a million things going on. So I love it, and it's our first Billy Madison rep today, which is a little shocking to me knowing who's on the panel. But
Yeah.
My favorite
I will
Sandler
ask.
film.
Yeah, I will ask Chad, as a Billy Madison fan, I know you are. What do you think of the More Gum musical number sequence?
It's amazing. I mean, yeah, it starts off with them in the fountain. The thank you for beating the shit out of me. It goes to like so many different like people, and then I love the clown that like got a concussion
Hey,
earlier
it's
on or
me,
hemorrhage in
Father,
his
I
head.
was dead.
And he just comes back and is like, "Hey, kids, it's me." And I love that.
It's
I
a
love
party
the.
act lead, right?
I don't know. But it's like amazing how it just ends with "Do you have any more gum?" It's just what it's just so weird and it's amazing, but it's fun.
Jonathan, I heard you chiming in. Do you have any thoughts on the More Gum sequence?
Yes, basically one of the funniest parts of that sequence is basically he's getting up. Basically, it's the beginning of it. Basically, got the sort of wind out of him. Basically, how he just sort of getting up, and the fountain just slowly bigger, 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 bigger with it, and it just comes around with it. Those little moments in that actually makes me laugh at it. Basically, you sort of have sort of his epiphany. So
Mhm.
basically, that kind of makes me laugh about it.
Yeah, it's a hilarious sequence. Jacob, any thoughts on the More Gum sequence from Billy Madison?
I don't like this movie.
Oh yeah, he hates it.
Oh, this
I
is
am
the
not.
one.
Oh,
This is
oh,
the
this
one.
is
I
the
am
one.
not a Billy Madison fan. I
Okay.
don't get it. I respect that people love this movie. So there will be no Billy Madison represented on my list. I get it though. People talk about this movie all the time. I get it. It's not for me. But I am surprised that it took till the last pick in round 2 for Billy Madison selection to be made.
Yeah, definitely a surprise. And we are going into round 3 with no Sandler performance or Sandler characters picked yet. It's the Sandler draft, and Sandler has not been picked yet in round 3. But that's just to show how deep everything is. That we're all waiting. We're all waiting to see who bites first, so we can test the waters of the fountain, if you will. But we are now here in the beginning of round 3, and Brian, it's back to you. What would you like?
Well, speaking of that, Dale, I'll go with the iconic character.
Okay.
I'll go with Bobby Boucher for the Roar Boy.
All right.
Yeah, Bobby's a decent character, even though he has the lisp, but he's still a good character. His chemistry with Mama Boucher, played by Kathy Bates, is great. His relationship with Vicky Valacourt is good, and you get some good lines there. He's a big fan of Captain Sato, played by Big Show, and it takes the wrong water. Takes the wrong water there. So Bobby Boucher is my pick.
All right. Just writing it down there. Yeah, I watched this one, rewatch this one after having not seen it for a while. Didn't really vibe with me. But again, like he has such a interesting success rate where I feel like some things are so nostalgic that they work for some and don't work for others. For example, one of my favorites is Click. Chad said it's not necessarily his favorite, and vice versa. Like I know he loves Waterboy, and I don't. Like I think that just speaks to Sandler is that he kind of reaches different people at different times. So this would not be in my five, but it is an iconic film to represent if we're doing a Sandler draft. And I think of all the things in that movie, I guess his performance is at least or his character is at least an iconic one of that, even though I find it a little irritable. But it's how much you like the shtick of that voice and stuff like that, because it is also something that's replicated in a film that Jacob also doesn't like, Billy Madison. Jacob, I will ask you, what do you think of Bobby Boucher, since it is a little similar to Billy Madison in the way he speaks, but was this on your list?
It was actually. He was number 2 on my list.
Oh,
I
okay.
think the voice works for his character here. And yeah, I love the performance. I love all the Mama said. Like I think those are just so much fun. Like Mama said, alligators are angry because they got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
But
And
oh my god.
yeah, there's so many good ones. So no, I like the pick, and glad to see Adam Sandler finally represented in the Adam Sandler
There
draft.
you go, Jacob. I did it for you.
Yeah, there you go. Chad, it was on your list.
Yes, this was my number 1.
Okay.
Yeah,
Favorite
I
Sandler
was.
character. Wow. Okay.
Brian sniped it from me. I was like,
Wow.
oh, god damn it, Brian. But
You just had to
that
get
being
Hubie's
said,
mom.
right?
Hey,
Had to
I like
say,
Hubie's mom better, so I will stand by your pick there, Chad.
I mean, if you're gonna sacrifice Bobby Boucher, I'm happy to do it for Gene Squibb always. But yeah, Bobby Boucher, I think he's so endearing. I understand if people find the voice annoying. I mean, I think like comedy is just so subjective, but for me, I just get it's not Adam Sandler just doing a silly voice. It's just a character, and for me, I just love that character. I think he's just so like he just wants to kind of fit in, and I love seeing him kind of come into his own, go to college. He never thought he ever would, find love, do the impossible and actually, say no to his mama, lie to her, but then say no to her, and then show her the error of her ways. And, I love how he turns his freakish tackling skills, into something that, can make people cheer him on. And I just think, it's just a really great like underdog story, for that team, but also for that character. And I just think he's just so sweet, and so he's just always been one of my favorite Sandler characters. But yeah, you'd really have to not find the voice grating to your ears to love him, I guess. But
There you go. All right, Jonathan, was this on your list as well?
Yeah, he was my number 2 character of Sandler's characters. So.
All right, good pick, Brian. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Anything to add, Jonathan, to the conversation about him?
No, that's all I can say about it.
No
So,
worries. Well, you are next on the
Brian-
clock, so we can transition.
Well, one second, real quick. I'm sorry, but Brian picked Shooter McGavin. Then he picked Bobby Boucher, and I said he sniped him from. He did like a little shooting move, like Shooter McGavin.
Oh man,
Thank you, Brian.
nice playing heart and head. I love it. Well, Jonathan, you are next on the clock, so we'll ask you, what would you like to pick? You've already got your prop and your scene out of the way. Now all you have to do is pick some characters.
okay, all right. I remember before we go on recording, you said that I can sort of basically just strictly love interest on the other end, so it doesn't have to be female lead. So I'm toying with the idea. I'm going to put a supporting female character, basically.
You could.
Say it by asterisks, but I'm torn between two, but I'm gonna go outside the box on this. On my chest, I'm putting under the supporting character category. I'm gonna go in the world of animation. I'm gonna picking Mavis the vampire in the Hotel Transylvania.
All right.
Ooh.
Good pick. Good pick. Yeah, before we went on, this was the example I made. I was like, well, she's the lead, but she's not his love interest, so she would be more supporting. So I'm sorry I tipped your pick to yourself, but that's awesome. What do you think of Mavis, Jonathan? Why'd you pick Mavis?
She's a very unique character, basically. And the first scene we see her in the movie, you can tell basically she's kind of annoyed and a little fed up with her dad, basically sheltering her for almost all her life, even though over thousands of years, basically doing his own, no, man, wait, he's not safe, blah, blah, blah. So basically, just kind of a little more fed up in that. And basically, throughout, I put specifically on the first movie, specifically because I think basically she was basically curious about the other world outside the hotel, and when she was meet Johnny, basically kind of showed the way how to do with it. So I basically her character was very more sweet to it. Basically, it was a little puppy eyes, even a bad eyes when she does it, and basically I could tell basically I seen her. I love the little animation look by her. So
Mm,
basically, it's sort of like straight out like kind of we seen I'll kind of elaborate when I say this. Basically we kind of seen girls kind of looks like that basically. So
mm.
and I like the character along with it. So basically it was sort of a good foil. I also call him out throughout near the end of the film, basically kind of sort of lied to it basically and basically kind of force him to change to go outside of it. So I always like that character as a more fascinating one. So I'm just gonna select for Magus.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's a really inspired pick, especially because it gets some animation on the board too. It kind of just shows his range as an actor to like get just other films represented that aren't just like his PG-13 kind of raunchy comedies in a way. But I do have to ask because I've actually never seen the Hotel Transylvania movies. I just have to ask, like,
Hmm.
she's a supporting character or is she?
She's his daughter. Yeah,
She's a
she's
daughter in
supporting.
the film.
Just
Yeah.
making sure because I know I don't know if like the movie's about her and like he's supporting her, but if we're looking at Adam Sandler movies, like if Dracula is the lead and she's supporting,
He's
I just
the
haven't seen
lead.
it, so I wasn't
Yeah,
sure. But
He's the lead, but Mavis
he's in
more
charge
support
of the
character across the second film and the third film.
gotcha. So yeah, in the whole Hotel Transylvania lore, then yeah, I just wanted to clarify. Not that I was going to veto it anyway, but I think it's a great outside the box inspired pick. Also, just like you hit on the animation, this is something I can speak to, even though I haven't seen the movie. But like Tarkovsky is just insane. Like he's just one of the best
Like the
animators. Obviously,
laboratory, yeah.
yeah. Samuel L. Jackson, Samurai Jack is what I meant to say. Obviously the Star
Mm.
Wars series he did is one of my favorites. The Tartakovsky Star Wars series, the Clone Wars, is just fantastic. I think it's better than the Cartoon Network one, personally. But I just think it's so
Okay,
good.
fair.
But yeah, I think it's a great pick. Obviously, potential Oscar nominee this year, Selena Gomez also voicing her, which is cool. A lot of awards darlings from this year, June Squibb and Selena Gomez getting represented here on the board, which is pretty cool. But I'll turn it over to someone who has seen the movie. Chad, what do you think of Hotel Transylvania Mavis as the pick here?
I'm not in love with the trilogy, but I've only seen them like once all the way through, and it just wasn't for me because like I'm a little older and I just didn't like grow up with them, and I just like I'm not like a huge animation stan just in general. It's just I think my tastes are a little bit different. But that being said, what I did like from these films, was this character. I think she's great. I think Selena Gomez is great as her. She's basically like a goth girl that just like wants to, experience more of the world. She's basically Nemo. How I kind of see it a little bit.
Okay.
But she's one where because she's the one that wants to go and see like the human world and stuff like that. So she feels like more of the change outside of the tradition. So if this is a really really good character to pick, and like you said, it brings more like animation representation on the list, which is really cool.
Yeah, you're describing it. It sounds a little like Little Mermaid meets Fiddler on the Roof a little bit, but
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah,
Jake,
see that.
Jacob, any thoughts on Mavis in Hotel Transylvania?
Yeah, I'm not in love with the trilogy either, but I do think the first one is really good. I think the trilogy kind of dips in quality with the second and third one, but yeah, she's really good here. Selena Gomez voicing Mavis, I think the character is really good. She's obviously an integral part to the story, and if you're gonna go animation, I don't think Mavis is a bad pick to go with, and I'm glad to see some animation represented here. Who knows? I was toying around with the idea of going with some animation as well, so I'm glad to see I'm not the only one.
There you go. Brian, any thoughts? Last thoughts on Mavis?
Yeah, she's a good character. Yeah, it feels like she's more like Ariel almost for the whole Transylvania universe. But yeah, you'll enjoy Dyl. I'll say probably watch the first three, not the four because Sarah's not in it. But yeah, Chad, I think you should show all of you showed Elliot yet, but he might enjoy this one.
Yeah,
Cool.
probably.
Yeah.
That was right there.
Yeah, because Tartakovsky does a lot of those like really extreme, like kind of like goofy, almost slapsticky.
Yeah.
Very
He's like, you know what,
heavy.
your animated characters, let's like make you bend and twist and all that stuff. So, I love
Pretty
that.
much in Tex-Avery gags, basically.
Yes, exactly. All right, Chad, you are up. You got your prop. You got your supporting character. Let's get your Sandler, your leading lady, and your scene in whatever order you choose. Deep in thought.
Okay. I wanted to do my Sandler character third, so he'd be like in the middle of my board. So
Dead center of the draft. Okay.
That's what I'm gonna do. That's
Buffy
why
strategy.
I've been waiting. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yep.
That's what Stacy
definitely.
did.
Yeah.
Smack dab in the middle.
Right in the middle. Yeah, because I'm third. Good point. But I'll go. Well, for that too, I'll go with, of course, Billy Madison.
Right.
Why
On my
wouldn't I?
list.
You know, of course he's on your list, Brian. But we'll wrap them because we know Jacob's not. But that being said, when I was a kid just was my favorite movie. I just adored it. I think like with nostalgia, it brings with nostalgia, this movie is a lot better, I think. Although I know there's some people who still really like this movie and don't have the nostalgia for it, but for me, I definitely have that, and I can watch it anytime, and it just always holds up for me. It's silly. It's not like a perfect movie, but for Sandler films, I feel like this is probably the most quotable you can get from a Sandler movie, and like how Dylan was kind of explaining it earlier, how it just like the musical number just comes out of nowhere, just crazy. And it's just like weird, and I love that about it, and I just love that it goes really wacky, but it's still ultimately about this character and his growth. And I love the fact that he's this like guy that just he doesn't have to do anything, and there's a lot of like rich kids out there that don't have to do shit because their parents just give them money so they can waste their lives away playing Nintendo and jack off magazines, whatever the quote is. And
Nudie Magazine Day.
Yeah, Nudie Magazine Day. And oh shit, that's a prop, damn it.
Yeah,
but
I love how they come to you during the draft. We'll just have to do this again in 2 years, and you can
And then we can take Dyl to this list.
Yeah. We could just do like 5 new props, 5 new ladies, 5 new. Yeah,
we could do that. That would be great.
There is enough material.
But I love how he could do that, but then he's basically forced to go back to school to earn his rightful place as the head of Madison Hotels. And at the end of the movie, he doesn't choose to do that. He gives it to Carl because he's like, Eric's a piece of shit. I'm not going to give it to him. So he gives it to Carl. And I love that he chooses to be a teacher. He, in his pursuit to just kind of coast off his dad's whatever, he chooses not to do that. And he's like, I'm going to go and, do something that I fell in love with during the process of this. And I just think that's kind of brilliant. I love that for him. It's a silly character. He's just, making fart jokes and, throwing pickles at the window and just being really really crazy and weird, and seeing penguins everywhere, and stuff. It's a very silly character, but I think he shows a lot of growth. I think he's very funny, yeah, Billy's great.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like he had to get picked in the 5, in one of our 5. So I'm glad he is this second represented character here. Was in my 5 for sure. Just iconic. Even if you're not the biggest fan of the movie, it is my number 4 favorite Sandler film. I think if I were to rank them, I haven't yet, but behind my 3 musts, like this was the next one where like I'd love to have him if I can get around to him, but I knew I probably wouldn't. So I'm glad you picked him here, smack dab in the middle. It feels right. Smack shabadoo in the middle. Jacob, I know you're not the biggest fan of this, but are you at least a fan of the pick of Billy Madison as a character?
Yeah, I mean, I understand. He is an iconic character, and he's a beloved Sandler character. So I don't hate the pick. Like, obviously, I wasn't going to pick him, but I understand. In the whole Sandler universe, like he's so beloved, and I'm not surprised. I'm happy he did get picked, because I would have been like, no Billy Madison. What?
It feels right. Yeah. Brian, it sounds like you also had this on your list despite you going with another pick. Would this have been your pick if yours wasn't taken?
Actually, no, because I know I make my list all Billy Madison themed, so that's why I didn't choose him for my silent character, because I picked the scene throughout 2. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my favorite silent movie, Shampoo with Bella. I go first and see there. Conditions, Bella. I go. Like, still think it's still look at me, Dyl. Yeah, it's a great pick.
There you go. Jonathan, what are your thoughts on Billy Madison?
Okay. I'm gonna go. Well, it's a very good choice, and I'll be honest, it was my 3rd or 4th option. Nice. If I were going to it was more of a lead, to be honest, but not to say I don't enjoy them, but I did like he have a solid journey throughout the movie. Basically, he sort of back to basics approach on his education. Basically, essentially, sort of won to the top, even though he sort of won. Basically, gets the degree and money. He decided, like, I'm just gonna go with put other things throughout to do it. Basically, he kind of knows, like, when he gets the job, basically, it's like, no, I'm not technically fully responsible, basically. So I'm gonna go more ideally. Who is more ideal than he would? Even he knows his service limits with it.
Nice. All right. Well, Billy Madison has finally been picked off the board. Second Billy Madison pick in the last 4 picks. But I'm going to go back to another film. I'm not staying with a unique pick here. I needed 3 of my top Adam Sandler films on the list. Click, 50 First Dates, and then my number 1 Sandler film of all time. I need it on the board. I know we've already gotten the prop, but I need Howard Ratner on my board. Because I think it is the greatest role Adam Sandler has ever played in Uncut Gems. I think it is probably the most dynamic and fleshed out and nuanced character he's ever played. I know it's very hard on a draft like this to like compare this character to like, Billy Madison and other characters that haven't been picked and the Waterboy, like all these characters that are much more comedic and much more, broad, and the thing is he is also broad, but he's also deeply hurting, deeply, addicted. It's a different type of addiction. It's gambling. It's not something that is physically ailing, which I think is also very interesting, like seeing how it consumes his mind more than it does like an alcoholism movie or like a drug addiction movie. It's a different type of addiction, but it is a very real one. And I do love seeing those ranges of the height of the thrill, and then like when he finally succumbs to it and his addiction to just all in, betting all in, and just continuing to indulge in stuff he shouldn't be. But I also think he also hits a very important subculture of like New York specifically. Also, like you go to the Diamond District and there's so many guys just like that. And it's rude to stereotype, but it is also very authentic to the place and the period. And I think just the way he's able to capture that is so real and authentic. I think his relationships with other characters is so fascinating, with someone younger like Julia Fox's character, someone older like Idina Menzel's, and then just like the way he interacts with his kids, and then all his clients, and when he gets all like starstruck by KG, but then he starts to have the power dynamic. Like, I just think he's such a fascinating character to just watch maneuver the room and watch just maneuver all these insane circumstances. And it's like all circumstances that he could have easily prevented, but he himself is basically responsible for. And I think it's just one of the greatest, like, hour and a half, hour 45 train wrecks of just a character going off the deep end that I've ever seen. And so I think it is not just my favorite Sandler movie, but maybe my favorite movie of 2019, maybe one of my favorite films of 2010s in general. I really think it's a fantastic film. So that's a stacked year. My favorite Scorsese and Tarantino are also in that year, plus Parasite. So it's hard to say what is definitively the best movie of that year, but I do think this is up there, and I think he should have won Best Actor. I still will stand by that. Sorry, Leo. Sorry, who even won that year? Joaquin. Like, come on. I know we were fans of Joker, but I mean, like, this for me is like the best performance he has ever given. But we're not drafting performances, though I do think his performance adds to the character. So just had to rep Uncut Gems. I'm glad Jacob got the props so I could get the character. I was worried if I let him go further that he could get sniped. So I'm glad. I think of the 5 characters that we will draft today, I think it's important to at least have one dramatic character just because I think it shows his range. So I'm glad that this is the one. Maybe there will be more, but I do think this is the one that I wanted to rep most of all. But I also figured, you know what? Let me go for my Universal Remote. Seemed like a good play. Because I know Jacob wanted it, and then Lucy, just in case. I like, again, having Sandler smack dab in the middle, so I'm fine with that. Sorry, I talked way too long, but Jacob, you picked the prop. Do you also like the character? Do you like the film?
I do. He's number 5 on my list because just the characters that I have above, I've seen those movies, a few more times than Uncut Gems. It's not the easiest movie to rewatch, but I still think there's some rewatchability there. Where I love his dramatic roles, and I think I think this isn't my favorite performance of his, but it's his best performance. And the fact that he didn't get shown any love for it at all is still baffling to me. But I agree with everything you said. I think he portrayed the character really well. I think. It's just such a unique Sandler character, and I'm glad he's represented.
Cool. Jonathan, any thoughts on Howard Ratner from Uncut Gems?
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with Jacob's point. Basically, it's not easy to watch through there. So basically, it's more of an anxiety and frustrating one, but very much in a very good way with it. Like, basically, I agree with your point, Dylan. It's like basically all of this could have been avoided if you would scale back a bit. So basically, and the way he does in the film, and kind of suffered the consequence of it. I kind of mentioned the spoiler, and he dies in the result of it, basically. So it's sort of like on those unpredictable circumstances, basically, kind of lead that person to the death mindsets. So it's a great choice. So I applaud you for picking it.
Thank you. Chad, thoughts on Howard Ratner?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great pick for sure. I mean, he's known for, where's my snack bag? Stuff like that. That's what he's known for mostly. And I feel like that's why the Academy wouldn't give him an award. I mean, he was even in, conversation for Hustle. I won't name that character, but after Uncut Gems, should have been after a different movie. People should have been like, well, he's been doing this where he's been giving us fantastic performances that aren't just, in that little comedy bubble that he does, where it's like, he actually went to like New York City and was like going around talking to these people that, are jewelry guys like that, and trying to do his research and stuff like that. And this movie was like built up and planned for so long, and they just really wanted Sandler to do it, and to see it actually come to fruition, and to see him embody that character and just be so cringe but like exciting, and just like just everything in this character, and frustrating, and just he really captured that thing. So I agree that he should have won over Joaquin. And
at least been nominated.
Sad that he didn't. Yeah, at least get nominated. I agree. Yeah,
he did win the Indie Award though for Independent Spirit.
Indie Spirits knew it was up. Yeah,
This was a great pick. Yeah.
Thank you. Brian, thoughts on Howard Ratner? Howie.
Yeah, it's a good pick. Good pick for one of the dramatic performances. Yeah, I agree. Sal should be nominated. He was like for other movie early 2000. Was like for this one. Was nominated a few years later. I guess the Academy don't like Sandler or Jim Carrey. I guess for some reason for dramatic performances, but yeah, overall good pick, Dyl.
Thank you. All right, Jacob, we're back to you with another back-to-back pick here. So, what is going to be your next pick? You've gotten your prop and you got your leading lady. You still have your Sandler character, your supporting, and your scene.
Yeah, I'll go with my Sandler character as well. I'll just continue that trend. I'm gonna go with Happy Gilmore.
Nice.
From Happy Gilmore, obviously. Like I said earlier, this is my favorite Sandler movie, and I just love the character of Happy Gilmore. He's a failed hockey player with anger issues, who learns that he can hit a golf ball really far, and yeah, his grandma's house gets taken from him, and so he starts doing the golf thing, and I just I love the dynamic between him and all the supporting characters in this movie. I won't name them, obviously, but yeah, it just the fight scene that we've talked about already. I think he's funny. He can be serious when he needs to. I like the romance in here as well. I think this, like I said, this is my favorite Sandler movie. I think this is a perfect character for him. I can't wait to see what Happy Gilmore 2 brings. I'm excited for that. That's going to be a day one watch for sure.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have been able to live with myself if I let Happy Gilmore get away from me. So I'm glad I was able to get him. He's obviously number one on my list. So
yeah, it's iconic. Cool. Yeah, they're actually filming Happy Gilmore 2, or they filmed it right around the all of New Jersey, really, but really close to where I am. So, yeah, I was so busy with other projects and stuff, I couldn't get to go because like there was a lot of like open call signups for like extras in it, just to be like golf spectators and stuff. I really wish I could have gone. And
I saw a video. Well, those open guessing calls, they were filmed a long line of it. Like,
yeah, because it was really just like, hey, do you fit this costume? Cool, you're in. But I would have really liked to go and be on set for that.
AEW wrestler MJF in the film. Happy Gilmore too.
So hey, if they do reshoots, I'll see if I can get on that set. That'd be awesome. But yeah, already been picked by Brian and Jonathan in other categories. Brian, what do you think of this as a pick for character?
Very do happy. Right down that boy, you're looking down through up there. Yeah, I love Happy Gilmore. I love all the supporting characters. Probably some of them be mentioned later on. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a great film for the great Carl Weathers as well. So it's a great character. So yes.
There you go, Jonathan. Any other thoughts on Happy Gilmore, the character?
The character, yes. As someone who gets again versions of him, basically he is one of my favorite Adam Sandler characters. Basically, I love his comedies. He was actually one of my favorites, basically, from start to finish. Basically, he sort of like understands what sort of needs to be. Even at first, he was not even sort of being comfortable being a golfer. In his heart, basically, he's a hockey player. Mm-hmm. He kind of knows that like you got to still sort of step back of it, but deep down inside, you are a solid golfer, basically. So basically, and I like in the movie though, basically, he kind of blends the both, basically, which, and I know I shouldn't put this, maybe not this prop though, because I don't want to be so redundant with some of my choices. When he combines like the hockey puck and a golf club, it turns into this cool little machine of it. So cool right here. That was a very unique idea. I don't know. Practically, it's kind of worked very well. A bit could work that through a golf ball, but at the same time, it brings like sort of his weird ability to it. So that's one of the things I really appreciate about the movie about that.
There you go. Chad, any thoughts on Happy, the guy?
Yeah, I almost picked him. I was between him and Billy Madison because I'm like, they're very like similar, but I feel like Happy doesn't really have as much of a silly voice to him. Like he doesn't really get that far, although he does curse a lot. So there's that. Yeah, I love his character. How he's just like, he's less of like a man child, but he's more so like, he's just kind of like that kind of bro, kind of type that just doesn't have a filter, doesn't know how to control himself, which makes him very, very popular with the golf crowds because they're not used to that kind of stuff. Him just going off. And whatnot. And he's just so unconventional because he's, the hockey player and stuff. So, I think that's such a cool idea. But really deep down, why I almost picked him, but I'm glad Jacob got him, is that, I love that he's just so like in love with his grandmother that he just like would do anything for her and would just wants to, help get her house back and, would basically hurt anyone if they tried to hurt her. And I just think that's so sweet that they have like that great relationship together. And also it's just really cool to like his whole shtick is that he can hit the ball really like impossibly hard or whatever, and hit
His
that guy
shtick or
off the
his
roof.
stick? Ha ha ha! Get it?
There you go, his shtick, yeah.
Waka waka.
He can even hit Subway sandwiches at people.
Mm.
Talk about a hole in one. And yeah, I don't know. It's even when like he's riding the bull, he's got iconic moves. So I don't know. It's a great
And he has
pick, of course.
groupies as
You had
well.
to.
A bunch of groupies out there.
There you go.
That's right. That's right.
Love it. Glad it was
Finding
represented in this first 3 rounds. It's hard to talk about him without talking about his tangential supporting characters and props and whatnot. Even though I do believe between the 4 of us, we have now tipped a prop and 2 supporting characters, but that's okay because we are headed into 4th round. So this is where things get really interesting, really personal. Things getting personal now. I'm just kidding. They're getting to the heart. So Jacob, what is going to be your penultimate pick here? Are you going to go with your supporting character, or are you going to go with your scene?
I don't know, because this is like I feel like the first 3 I was like I'm gonna play for the poll, like I think, and then these last 2 I'm like I want to get personal because there's maybe they're not as beloved by others, but I really enjoy them, and so I'm gonna go with my scene, and probably not on anybody's board, but 'tis the season, right? I'm gonna go with the technical foul song from 8 Crazy Nights.
What?
I love this song. I think it's just so much fun. And yeah, like I said, I was just something personal. Like it's obviously not a lot of people are gonna be like when you think of Adam Sandler, 8 Crazy Nights, isn't like, well, I gotta make sure I get something from that movie.
Yeah.
But I just think it's such a fun song. I think it's a fun part. Like it's easily the best part of the movie for me. In my opinion, it's something that I can turn on and listen to every once in a while without having to turn on the movie. So the technical foul song from 8 Crazy Nights is
what?
my scene.
I love that pick because the reason we're doing this draft in December is because of Hanukkah as like a cool kind of break from Christmas drafts. So it kind of makes sense that 8 Crazy Nights is represented. And I think if you're going to represent it, it makes sense here. Also, the reason it exists is because of that Hanukkah song on SNL. And, before we did the draft, I was toying around some categories and I almost made a category, one of his famous like SNL sketches. But then I was like, that would require a lot of research for people who are more in the movie sphere. So I don't know if anyone's as big an SNL nerd as me. So I was like, maybe not. But I feel like this also kind of encompasses that, where like the Hanukkah song was such like an iconic part of his lore and part of his, fame and acting. So, and as a singer, I actually had the fortune of going to the 12-12-12 concert for hurricane relief for Sandy because I was in an area that was very heavily affected. So I got to see that at MSG, and he, they had a lot of celebrities kind of introducing the next acts of musicians, but he came on and performed the Hanukkah song at 12-12-12. So I got to see that live. And that's just something I'll always hold near and dear, is watching Adam Sandler perform the Hanukkah song live. But this is not the Hanukkah song, but I feel like it kind of fits that mold a little bit, and it kind of pays homage to that. And I do think this is the standout part of that movie. So I'm glad you represented it. And again, animation, I always will champion animated picks. So I'm really glad that there's inspired picks going on here on the draft. I was worried it would be like the same 2 or 3 movies dominating everything, and now we've gotten so many unique films represented. I believe the only overlap so far is like Happy Gilmore, Uncut Gems, and Billy Madison. So like that's really cool that we have so many unique films so far, and we still have 2 rounds left. So great pick. I love it. Any thoughts, Chad, on Eight Crazy Nights? This song, the Technical Foul song.
Well, if SNL was a category, I think I might have gone with Schmidt's Gay
Hmm.
as my pick because it's hysterical.
With the Van Halen music in the back. Have you seen the original one? Van Halen music in the background.
Yeah. That or maybe Opera Man. But that being said, this is a really interesting pick, Jacob. I saw Eight Crazy Nights in the theater. I remember thinking it was okay, but like as an adult seeing it, I'm just like, I don't think this movie works at all. And it makes me really sad because Adam Sandler, I mean, this shouldn't be like all on his shoulders, but like Sandler was like a big like representation for Jewish holidays and making like one of the most iconic like Hanukkah songs, if not the most one, other than like what Dreidel Dreidel Dreidel, and then making not Christmas but a holiday like Hanukkah classic. Like this could have been it, and I wanted it to be like so good and be something like really, really great for people who celebrate Hanukkah, because there's not a lot of great Hanukkah movies. And so I was really bummed that this wasn't fantastic, although I think it's awesome that Jacob finds something in the movie that's still at least a little bit redeeming. And it's not only that, but it's one of his favorite Sandler scenes. So I think that's actually pretty incredible. It makes me want to rewatch it, just for that scene, or just rewatch that scene. Because if there's one thing Sandler does well, it's music in his movies. So great pick.
Brian, thoughts on this song from Eight Crazy Nights?
Yeah, if you did SNL, it's kind of very. I'm going to go most that for that one, and possibly in the near future, though, you could do a whole SNL draft because of the 50th anniversary for SNL.
I might.
But yeah. First pick, I do. It's actually my first scene in the film, Jacob. It's also my list. And also, one of the characters was on my list as well for supporting. But yeah, casting past 3. If you do, you'll get a T. Okay, with this foul, I'll say hit the shower. So it's a technical foul.
There you go. Jonathan, any thoughts on technical foul from Eight Crazy Nights?
First off, I would accept to do it like an SNL special episode, basically based on the 50th anniversary, and a huge special coming up in February, basically. So keep that in mind in the back pocket. And also, the movie itself, I don't like the movie, and I kind of agree with Chad's point. Basically, to me, this movie is sort of like wasted potential with it, because I felt like he could have done something real special with it. And I felt like it's kind of a wasted, kind of dumbing down on it, basically. Could have been some real funny things with it, basically. So, and the more frustrating thing about it is, like, I felt like in animation-wise, I don't remember anything a lot in animation-wise that sort of stand out, basically. It felt like you could have done like a live action, but nothing will sort of change, basically. So, that's my thing with it. So, I just... That's not my favorite movie on there, and I just don't like the film in general. I thought it was sort of his worst ideas, basically. Sort of potential premise, basically.
Yeah, not for everyone, but I'm glad it's at least represented to give some variety to the board. I'm up next, and I'm very happy my supporting character, my number one, is still here. My number one lady, my number one prop, my number one character were all here. So I'm really happy I still got my number one and everything. The only thing I'm not getting is scene, because my top 2 were already picked, the Bob Barker fight and the musical number and Billy Madison. So 4 of my 5 are going to be my number one picks. So I'm very happy. And, Jacob... and Jonathan and Brian have all picked Happy Gilmore picks, so it's like kind of cool that I get to like join in on all the fun there, because I feel like almost all of us are going to end up with Happy Gilmore picks at the end of the day. But I like how they're spread out and not one person is going all in on Happy Gilmore. But I'm going to join the Happy Gilmore train. I'm going with Chubbs. I feel like this was kind of, for me, the most iconic supporting character. Obviously, losing Carl Weathers a lot of people thought right of Apollo. They were like, "Oh, Apollo," and I was like, "Chubbs," you know, like it made me,
Yep.
I was mourning Chubbs, and I think also because there is that shot of him waving, in the sky with the gator and with is it with Grandma
Abraham
too?
Lincoln.
Or Abraham
Abraham
Lincoln, that's who
Lincoln.
it is. So Grandma
Lincoln,
survives. Sorry to picks, but yeah, no, I really love just that whole arc. I mean, obviously losing the hand, it's kind of dumb. Again, I tipped another pick. Shit. There's just so many great picks from Happy Gilmore. It's hard not to. I mean, Brian's the only one left for a prop, so it's I'm not
yeah,
tipping
and
too much,
lady, so
but and he sounds like he wants to spread the wealth. So maybe me talking about Chubbs' hand is not too much of a tip pick, but I do love
never
Chubbs'
know.
hand.
Some of them,
Yeah, I do like it though as a bit. It's a great bit. I do like how it gives some interesting backstory and trauma to him, to a character that could just be like this kind of supporting nothing. But I think also Carl Weathers just brings so much to it. So I'm very happy to get Chubbs here. I'm kind of representing my top 5 Sandlers. So if I can get a Billy Madison scene at the end, like I'll have my whole top 5 represented of movies. So that'd be really cool. But I'm gonna hold my breath and make sure that happens and not tip any more picks. So Brian, what are your thoughts on Chubbs?
yeah. I believe a year before his passing, I met him at a convention actually, and I was autographed there. I believe
Awesome.
that number one, obviously, and he personalizes his tapping in. Yeah, Chubbs is a great character. I believe the new ones will be paid tribute to him as well. So yeah, it's sad that we lost Carl Weathers, but yeah, it's a good pick to honor him.
Absolutely. Jonathan, any thoughts on Chubbs?
Yeah, I do miss. Yeah, he's a great character. He's a great mentor in the film. And people forget he's not sort of in the movie a little lot in the middle of the film. You think it's sort of a mentoring role. He is though. So basically, when he comes back after he has this little meltdown with Bob Barker, basically, kind of like go back to sort of basically just doing little simple things when he does it. So I do like his character in a fun way. He had to be a cameo actually, in
Which
Little Nicky basically in Heaven. Yes,
That's right.
Little
Nice.
Nicky basically. So basically, he's sort of happy well in Heaven basically.
Very cool. I didn't know that. I haven't seen that one either. Chad, thoughts on Chubbs?
Yeah. You'll definitely like that part at least, because I don't think you'll like Little Nicky knowing what I know about you
Oh
and
no.
voices. But that being said, it's all in the hips. It's all in the hips. Chubbs is a great pick. I actually had Chubbs higher than Mrs. Dubois when I was listing them out, but then I went with June Squibb. But yeah, I was really thinking about picking Chubbs because he's such a great character. I love him as an instructor. He's kind of like that, Mickey to Rocky kind of influence.
That's a great
But
analogy. That one.
yeah. Thanks. And I love how he's got the that foil. He's always got that one, that gator that got his damn hand.
Mm.
And then Billy kills it. I mean not Billy, Happy kills it. And I love that relationship between them. I just think it's so special. When Chubbs, spoiler for Happy Gilmore, when Chubbs dies in the movie, it's a pretty heavy weight. And sorry Jacob, it's a pretty heavy weight in there as well. So yeah, it's a great instructor character. I just find Carl Weathers so he's like a straight man in the movie, but he's like really funny in his own way.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really see a lot of that from Carl Weathers because you mentioned some of his like iconic roles that are more just serious roles in like action films. So
Yeah. There you go. It's funny because I talked about him waving in heaven, and then Chad saying later the death is a spoiler. I was like, well, I already kind of tipped the death already. So
You did do
if
that,
it
yeah.
was already spoiled, it's spoiled even more
I
now.
got his hand.
Jacob, having
I
been
got his
freshly
hand.
spoiled about Chubbs' death, how do you feel about this pick?
Must have missed that part of the movie. No, I think this is a great pick. If I was going to go supporting from Happy Gilmore, this is probably the route I would have taken. Just I didn't want to, just because I wanted like some variety on my list. Like if I could have, I probably would go all 5 just Happy Gilmore picks. I just love the movie that much. But yeah, I think he's such a great friend and mentor to Happy. And he always seems to have this calm demeanor too about him, which is for most of the movie, which is until he sees the gator's head, and then
Mm.
but apparently he dies. So no, great pick. Yeah, when I found out that Carl Weathers passed away, like this was the movie that I went to because this was the character that I remember most fondly when it comes to Carl Weathers.
Yeah. Yeah, rest in peace. Very sad. Too early too. It was still relatively young. So very sad. But his memory lives on in this draft. Speaking of Chad, who is going to live forever in memory on your draft board? Having picked a lead character, a supporting character, and a prop, you still have to pick a scene and a leading lady. What are you going to go with?
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if your segue makes a lot of sense, as I'm gonna pick a scene. But
What
the
is going to
scene
be
will
remembered
live.
forever? Live in memory. What is going to rest peacefully at your number 4?
I'm gonna pick. Yep, this is the number one I wrote down as number 1. I'm gonna pick a third act scene that I think is just so beautiful, and it is the airplane scene from The Wedding Singer.
Nice.
I mean, it has like everything. It has this like triumphant moment for the character. It's like a will they, won't they? Like she's going to get married. Sorry to if this is none of this is probably spoiler for you, Dylan, right? I'm sure
No,
some
this
of
is
this
in the
happens in
musical
the
too.
musical.
It's in the
Okay.
musical. Yeah.
And so she's about to get married off. She's about to become Julia Gulia, and you're like, this can't happen. This guy's an asshole. He's a cheater. You can't let that happen. And then he boards the plane, and it's just great because just how I'll just say Robbie is in the movie, that everybody's on his side. Even Billy Idol is on his side and wants to help him get the girl, basically. And talk about music. He sings one of the most iconic, like, Adam Sandler songs, "I Want to Grow Old with You," and it's just so sweet, so like you want to cheer because he's this is the right thing. Like he won't make her sit on the aisle, and what, get her elbows hit with the drink cart kind of deal, because they're perfect for each other, and you love that. So to see everybody band together to fuck over Glenn Gulia is just the best. And I just think one of the most iconic, like, best third act scenes in any Sandler film, and just like in like rom-com history, I think, too. So it's fantastic.
Nice. Jonathan, any thoughts on this scene from The Wedding Singer?
It was my number 2 scene if someone picked the Bob Barker part before me. So basically, it was my number 2, and I think it's a very sweet scene, and also it's one of the show's earlier steps that outside his comedic deck is sort of for some warm heart and tenderness throughout these as an actor. So that scene sort of shows like the great brilliance of it around here and the airport, and basically with Billy Idol in the background of it. So I think it shows it was really a great talent. Great, we all know Gray. Whereas a musician artist sometimes he also has a very underrated voice. Basically, if he does a little more of a straightforward outside of his jokey build with it. So I always appreciate that in the movie, though.
Nice. Brian, any thoughts on Wedding Singer, this scene?
Yeah, this is a good scene. Wasn't the scene I had on my list, but yeah, it's a great scene. Even in Sandler's comedy special, he performed the song live from the audience. So yeah, you can tell it's a well-known scene when he performed it live in front of everyone. But yeah, it's a good pick, Chad, for Wedding Singer.
Absolutely. Jacob, any last thoughts on the Wedding Singer scene, the airplane scene?
Yeah, this was number 3 on my list, and like I said, I wanted representation on my list of different movies. I didn't want to pick from the same. Otherwise, I probably would have picked this, because Technical Foul was actually number 4 on my list. But again, I wanted to represent different movies and have some animation. But this scene, yeah, like, this is just such a great scene. I think Chad explained it perfectly. So yeah, great pick. I'm glad this one got picked.
Yeah, iconic scene, iconic pick, and now speaking of pick, we got Peck up next. We got Jonathan Peck with his pick number
That's a good
4. Pick
transition.
4. Yeah, right. Thank you. I've been a little rusty lately. So, Jonathan, what's going to be your next pick on the draft? You still have to pick a Sandler character and a leading lady.
I think I found the perfect Sandler lead. Barry Egan from Punch Drunk Love. Basically,
Nice.
my Sandler.
Hell yeah,
Good
dude.
pick. Good
Yeah, and this is basically shows. It was Wayne Singer's based on sort of the and this one shows this movie Punch Drunk Love. It shows his vulnerability basically, or raw vulnerability. I'll elaborate on what I mean by that. So it's really this guy Barry kind of works as sort of as a dead end job. No one respects him, and the people trying to true to respect him. It just doesn't feel like what he earned. And I think about some scenes of some prime example of this. So basically, when he's visiting one of his sister's house, basically heard around his back, and basically when her sister just bully and tease him all the time when they were little, and so on Sundays. And a few minutes later after that, he punches through one sort of the glass window of it, causes a scene, and is surprisingly nonchalantly runs it through in the next scene afterwards. It didn't sort of, well, one of the sisters brought him called him out on it, but this kind of feels like a nonchalantly. And basically throughout the movie, he was trying to find his peace and happiness basically uh with Emily, with her his lady in the movie, and basically sort of when he was trying to bring in sort of this wall emotion, it's just a little frenetic when he does it. So it brings sort of like this great ability to does, and it really shows some of the first steps basically show where I think he can be basically. And I think maybe he could have been nominated at O2 though. I know there was a fact like O2 like Nicholson and Nick Cage, and basically the winner was Adrian Brody. It would have been more fascinating, and he got nominated in that group. It would have been sort of like an odd anomaly, and also Dan Day Lewis too, and
Yeah.
basically sort of like an odd anomaly that Stanley got there. And people forget, like PTA won like a can award for best director. So basically, it's more of a movie. Best one was my personal favorite Sandler leads when he does a Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great pick. It's funny because Punch Drunk Glove was always like in my 5, but it wasn't at the top of any of my categories, so I like didn't know where to put it. Like there were certain categories I could have played it, so I'm glad it's represented because it is such a special movie. Also, being another dramatic offering for Adam Sandler, I just think it's such a great pick. You said everything perfectly. The fact that it wasn't Oscar awarded or at least nominated. Yes, it was a stacked year. Day Lewis versus About Schmidt, Jack Nicholson versus Adrian Brody, pianist. Like it's a tough year, but there's room for him. There's room for him, and I definitely think he should have been there. So, great choice. I'm glad it's represented. I don't know if it's going to be represented again. Maybe not. But I'm glad it is because it deserves to be on this draft in some way or another. And if I couldn't get it on, I'm glad you did. Chad, I know you're a big fan of Punch Drunk Love. What do you think of this pick of Barry Egan?
Barry Egan, yeah. Yeah, I adore this movie. I adore this pick. I was like kind of surprised when Peck picked it. When Peck picked it. Okay, when Peck picked it, because not a lot of people like rep it. Not a lot of people talk about it as much as I think it should be talked about, because I think it's just such a phenomenal movie. I think this might be my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie. I mean, it's probably just the Sandler fan in me, but like, right. I've always, I didn't love it when I first saw it because I was a kid, so I didn't understand any of it really. I was like, what is this? This isn't funny. But now as an adult, I just appreciate it so hard about how, he wanted to make like a 90-minute movie with Adam Sandler. Like the timing was very specific. And what he wanted to do was take that character, the man-child character that he's known for in all of his comedies, like Billy Madison, all these movies, and actually turn it on its head a little bit, where he's still a man-child, but it's not like a comedic thing. Instead, it's a sad thing. He's, the guy that was never able to grow up because he's emotionally stunted. He's just stunted in his life and just can't figure out how to go to the next step and how to, express himself emotionally. And it doesn't help that he's like bullied by his sisters and stuff like that. So I just love this character, I love to see his growth. I think Sandler, is able to perfectly channel that energy he has, like comedic in other movies, but then bring it to this like really kind of depressing place. And he dances and stuff like that. We're not talking about performance really, but the performance is great, the character's fantastic, and this is a perfect pick, Peck.
There you go. Jacob, what are your thoughts on Punch Drunk Love on Barry Egan?
I think it's a good pick. This is a movie that I was very late to. I only watched it for the first time like 2 years ago or something like that. I was very, very late on it. And yeah, I don't really have much else to add. I think Jonathan and Chad kind of explained the character perfectly. And yeah, it's a shame looking back that Sandler hasn't gotten more love for his kind of dramatic roles, because when he takes them on, he knocks it out of the park. And
yeah,
like this is no exception.
Absolutely. Brian, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, Punch Drunk Love is a very underrated movie for Sandler, in my opinion. I enjoy the performance, especially once he gets the phone call for the phone sex operation he called it to. But yeah, after that performance becomes good. And yeah, it's a good pick. I probably just do that for Jonathan, yeah.
I'm gonna do it the next time I was gonna be on in future episodes. Like pick a Packers.
Yep. Oh gosh. All right. Let's not get into talking about peckers here. No, no, it's funny. I love it. No, Brian, you are up next. You're now going to close out your draft board. You still got to get your leading lady, and of course, your prop. So what are you going to go with?
I'll go save the prop for last.
Okay.
So I'll go with leading lady. I'll go with Layla Maloney from Big Daddy, Jordan as character.
Okay.
Yeah, she's not in the film that much, but the chemistry with her and Sandler works great, and he helps her. Julian introduces sets Layla and Sonia up together actually, but yeah, for the performance alone, it's my pick for Layla Maroney from Big Daddy, my third Sandler film.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, as I said, just watched this recently for the first time. Big fan of her. I do think him and maybe a supporting character that maybe hasn't been picked, so I won't tip picks, kind of steal the thunder a little bit from her, but she is very good. Like she has a good presence in the movie, and I think it's a great pick, especially for like a round 4. Like I think it makes sense. There's one pick out there floating around that like I hope makes it on our draft board, but I know these are all deeply personal at this point, so I don't fault you for picking it, even though I might have gone somewhere else. But it's a great pick. Big Daddy Chad over there. Not that you are a Big Daddy, but you picked Big Daddy as your number 1 overall prop. What do you think of this pick here for leading lady?
I'm also not a Big Daddy, but
right.
but yeah,
I didn't want to say it.
But yeah, I think
zaddy.
this is a great pick. I actually didn't think about this one. I didn't have this one on my list, but I think it's perfect. I love Joey Lauren Adams. She's like known for like Kevin Smith movies, I think, before this. But then, in Big Daddy, I just think she's so great. I love like her voice. Is pretty unique. And then just the way she's so sweet to Julian, aka Frankenstein, and how she is also with Sonny. I just think she's like the perfect love interest. She's also like, I think she's a lawyer, right, in the movie. So she's like so like she's like so like above Sonny's kind of station. She's a lawyer and he's just kind of a dude. And but it shows that love can kind of come from anywhere. And it really doesn't matter. Yeah, so I think this is a really good pick. I like her a lot.
Cool. Great. Jacob, thoughts on Layla Maloney and Big Daddy?
Yeah, I think this is a really good pick. She was on my list. I think she is like it's kind of that whole opposites attract thing, where Sandler is this sort of slacker who while he's a law school graduate himself, just hasn't decided to take that bar exam yet, or hasn't passed it yet. I can't quite remember if he's taken it or not. But yeah, I think they've just work so well together. And obviously, as we see in the movie, spoilers if you haven't seen this almost 25-year-old movie, it works out. They end up getting married. They have a baby, happily ever after. I love it. Yeah. It's not a major focal point in the movie, but it's one that I think adds, a lot to the movie when it is there. I mean, obviously she helps him when it comes to the court case as well. Yeah. So yeah, I think she's a great character, and I'm glad she got picked.
Cool. Jonathan, what do you think of this one?
I'm a big person. I'll be honest. I didn't think about it all that much. He's very little in the movie, so I didn't even really honestly consider it as more of the other parts of the film. So it's basically the dude. So it's not in the film. I'd like to I can make it really my own opinion on it. So I'll kind of leave it with that.
No worries. Yeah, we're getting the last round, so it gets a little more personal, a little less populist pick. But that's what I love about these last few rounds, and we are in the last round. So Brian, this is going to be your final pick in the draft. You got to pick a prop or an item. I do. What are you going to go with?
I will double pick from a movie I picked earlier.
Okay.
From Billy Madison, the Snack Pack.
Nice.
Yes. Yeah, remember I said Snack Pack? I always said Billy Madison. Where's my Snack Pack? Yeah, but you have enough for me. I thought you were my Snack Pack. But yeah, even when he gets the gift from Veronica Vaughn, says, "Oh my God, Snack Pack!" He gets so excited for it. So yeah, Snack Pack is my pick.
Love it. Yeah, it's funny because you said Billy Madison, and like I still have like 4 or 5 props from Billy Madison written down, so it's just a matter of which one. This wasn't even one of them, so I'm glad you picked it. I think just with the school of it all, there's so many little props and books and things that you encounter along the way. So yeah, it's a great pick. Love the snack pack. Love a snack pack. Great, delightful little dessert, little ditty there. Yeah, it's so good. Jacob, are you a fan of the snack pack?
I'm a fan of the snack pack, yeah. But if you ask me if I remember that snack pack was a part of the movie, and I will tell you, I don't remember.
Okay.
So, I mean, I figured that a prop from Billy Madison would be picked as well. I just didn't know that a snack pack was one of them.
Yeah, well, maybe Peck knew who picked the pack, if you will, snack pack. Jonathan, what do you think of the snack pack?
Okay. I'll put that that pot in the jar.
That's the last wordplay I'll make. I'm sorry, Jonathan. It's a fun one. I made a lot of spider jokes when I first met Chad, so with the web thing. So everyone earns that before,
All right.
Yeah,
it's an initiation, but yeah, no, we love having you on. What do you think of snack pack?
Well, yes. About the snack pack, it's kind of like other props I did consider, but not my ideally if I would have chosen. And I was just like, it was just poor there, basically, where I was coming up with it. So I will go. It's a solid pop pick, but it's not my ideally what I can think of.
Gotcha. Chad, any thoughts on the snack pack?
I thought I was your snack pack. Somebody should have picked Juanita. But that being said,
it's still an option, right?
Sorry if I tipped. But
Jacob still has a supporting character left.
Well, yeah, okay, never mind. Jacob was never going to pick Juanita.
I was going to say. But he's the last one to pick a supporting. So
that being said, I mean this is a fun pick. I mean it's a reference throughout the movie. Like he wants the snack pack in the beginning, and then leading lady gives him a whole bunch of snack packs as a gift later on, and so it's a fun pick, and I think it would look really, really fun on someone's draft board. So yeah.
Well, it will be down there in that bottom left corner, holding down the fort over there. So Brian's final pick. Congratulations here. All right, Jonathan, your final pick here. Who is going to be your leading lady here representing your draft board?
Okay, then. You might want to hold your headphones a bit. So I'm just going to reenact a scene. A certain. Hold on. I'm going to quote. I'm going to reenact it. So basically.
Okay.
Oh boy.
To quote the late great Chris Farley saying, "That Veronica Vaughn." Get
He said
this and get it on. Woo-wee! Yes.
No, you
I
didn't.
love that. Good job. Nice. Love that pick.
Yes. I don't even know. That's kind of my bottom of the barrel pick, to be honest. But at the same time, like you actually sort of like kind of put Sandler in his place in that movie. Basically, it's not too much of a more of a love interest, but he has to kind of help him out. Basically, or the kindergarten or first grade teacher. Basically, sort of like even to mention that fountain scene later on in the movie. Basically, kind of call him out of his sort of his laziness, that's his bullshit. So basically, he kind of sort of like kind of help him out in it. Even basically dirt in the bus. Basically, even Billy basically kind of takes one of the students' fall, basically, who did it. It's like, I did it, sort of like, and you can tell, like, maybe her basically kind of sort of like kind of helping with that is on one of the kids. So basically, so I think it's like basically, she's a little fun character. I'm going with Veronica Vaughn.
Nice. Yeah. This was the one earlier when Brian picked the leading lady from Big Daddy. I was like, I hope Veronica shows up because honestly, I don't think this is a bottom of the barrel pick. I think this was the first one I wrote down, even though Lucy is my number one for 51st Dates. Like, I immediately wrote down Veronica Vaughn. Like, when I thought of the category, I was like, Veronica Vaughn is like the leading lady for when I think of for Sandler films. She was like a lot of people's first crush. You know, when you watch that movie Young, you know, it kind of taps into a weird fantasy, the hot for teacher mentality, which obviously is very well showcased in that film. She's just also just a great character. I just think she makes her presence known. She doesn't feel like merely there as a love interest. She challenges the main character, which I think is good. And she is part of Brian's iconic scene that he picked as well. So
yes.
I love that Veronica Vaughn's on this list. I'm glad she needs to be on the strap board. I'm just glad you picked it. If not you, Chad could have picked her next. So I will go over to him next. Chad, was this who you were going to pick? Or are you relieved that Jonathan did not snag your pick here?
So hot. I'm not gonna finish that actually.
Want to touch
you know,
the hiney.
there
Yeah,
you
I
go.
can do that. There you go. You gotta finish it. You gotta finish the line. You gotta.
Got to. All right, thank you.
We're quoting a movie. We're not sharing any.
That's a good point.
perverted sentiment.
Veronica Vaughn
That is cool.
is
your Farley impression is great, Jonathan. You should
Yeah.
enter that in a contest or something. You should go to SNL and be like, "Hey, listen, what I could do."
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, definitely iconic. I love her. You know, she beats the shit out of Billy to, you know, change him around. She's really that force that, you know, shows him that he's, you know, fucking up and he's not doing what he should be doing. And, you know, she is that thing, but she's also, you know, fun in her own way and stuff. And so, yeah, I think this is like a perfect pick. Just because, yeah, I mean, there's not too much to say. She's just great.
Yeah. I know you're not a fan of the movie as much as everyone else, but do you like Veronica Vaughn? Or are you a fan of this pick?
Yeah, I mean, I like the pick. Obviously, yeah. I mean, I've said my piece on Billy Madison, but obviously, I'm not surprised that it's getting picked in multiple categories. And yeah, I do like that she's not like a typical love interest like you guys were saying. Like she does challenge Billy, so it is a different sort of love interest. So I do appreciate that, and yeah, I don't remember the actress's name, but I do think she's really good.
Bridget Wilson.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, she might be my favorite part of the movie. I think I do think she's good.
Nice.
Hell yeah,
Brian, any thoughts on Veronica Vaughn?
Yeah, who was still 30 school bag lunches? Yeah, and make sure you spell Rizzuto the right way on the blackboard. No, that's because he's a baseball player. Yeah, she's a better teacher than Miss Slippy who puts glue on her face. So yeah.
Hey, leave Miss Slippy alone.
I mean, alright, Tippy picks there, yeah, but yeah, I do enjoy this pick though.
Again, you're tipping a pick that only Jacob could pick, and he's not picking that. Oh, you're good. You're good. Love it. Veronica Vaughn off the board, and Chad is going to give us our final leading lady here to round out the quartet already established between Julia Sullivan, Lucy Whitmore, Veronica Vaughn, and who else?
Layla Maloney.
That's right, Layla Maloney. Sorry, I'm looking back at my draft board. It's like an inch away. All right. Chad, who's going to be the fifth leading lady to make that quartet a quintet?
Oh my god, I'm not prepared. Okay. Okay, sorry. I had the actress's name but forgot to like look up the the character's name because that's actually what I'm picking.
Does it start
but
with an
I'm
E? The actress?
yes.
Yeah. Okay. I know who you're
It actually it does.
picking.
Yeah. I was between two, and I'm really sad that I'm not picking the one that the other one that I was between. But I wanted to go with like a more serious pick since I've gone like straight all comedy like until now. So I wanted to pick Lena Leonard from Punch Drunk Love, Emily Watson's character. So when Jonathan Peck was picking Barry Egan, I got really excited because I was like, I'm gonna pick the other half of that.
Yeah.
I just think it's like a perfect rom-com couple. Just like she's not like kind of over the top actress. She's not got like I don't know. I feel like a lot of the other like comedic ones they have she does have the alliteration in her name with the two L's. They like to do that for leading ladies in his films. But she just kind of shows up and she's the kind of normal force. Like talk about Veronica Vaughn changing Billy. She's the one that can kind of help Barry. Like a great like support system for Barry to show that even when he's acting crazy and just like channeling his emotion in really, aggressive, angry ways, she's there to show him to meet that with still kindness and understanding and like, you don't have to be this way. You can channel it in a different way. You can do something that you never thought you would do, like fly a plane somewhere and meet me. And, and he does. And just, and then he'll fight for her and stuff like that. So I don't know. I just find her a very calming presence in this like kind of chaotic movie. It's not as chaotic as Uncut Gems, but kind of chaotic movie that has great use of like music and color and stuff like that. And I find she's that very like calming presence that really complements that side of the film that is both chaos and then also calm and change and stuff. And I love that character and that relationship.
Yeah, I remember loving it. I just looked at my Letterboxd. I haven't watched this movie in 7 years, so I really need to watch it again. I watched it for the first time and only time in 2017 on a flight to visit my grandmother on her 100th birthday. So it was very jet lagged, like red eye. Like I was very tired because I had a show. This is way too TMI, but she had her 100th birthday party and I had a show the night before it was closing. So I was like, I got on a red eye overnight to go see her. I'd surprise her at her birthday party. And that night I was like, at this point, I'm not going to sleep because if I sleep now, I'm going to screw up my whole day tomorrow. So I watched Punch Drunk Love on a plane, was mesmerized by it, loved it, but it has been 7 years since I watched it. So I need to, I feel like that was the best atmosphere to watch Punch Drunk Love too, like where I hadn't slept, was tired, but couldn't sleep, had to wake up and be on a flight and watch a movie, where people are running around with phones with cords on them and all that. So I just have to rewatch it because I really owe it a rewatch, even though I loved it. It's not fresh on my brain to talk about, but I'm glad she's represented. She was my number 3, even if I haven't seen it in a while. She was behind Lucy and Veronica Vaughn for me. So I'm glad now all my leading ladies that I would have wanted to see here are there, even though I had 2 more to round out my 5. But Jacob, any thoughts on Lena?
Yeah, not on my list. Like you, I just haven't seen the movie. It's been a couple years. I've only seen it the one time. I did think Barry was a memorable character, but yeah, not the leading lady whose name I already forgot. Gotcha. Lena. Yeah. Yeah, I think I just need to give it a rewatch. I do remember really, really enjoying it. I just like you, I don't remember much about the character to really speak on it. But again, like the movie, just got to give it a rewatch.
Jonathan, you picked the counterpart to this. You picked Adam as Barry. What do you think of this pick for Emily Watson as Lena?
She's my number 2, actually. As much as I put the bottom of my pick, she was my number 2. It's only against Veronica Vaughn. So basically, she's a great calming presence to Barry in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically sort of kind of puts him at ease, basically, when you were sort of like on sort of like just getting back to that. So basically, sort of putting him in sort of like calm and ease.
Nice. Cool. Brian, any last thoughts on Lena?
Yeah, it's been a while since I had to do it for rewatch Punch Drunk Love. It's been a while believe I saw it for the first time 4 years ago during the pandemic. But yeah, knowing the characters I will more remember Adam Sandler's character more, so then we'll also do for rewatch.
Nice. Well, maybe we'll all have to rewatch it together and come back and do like a little Sandler Draft 2.0 at some point. But I am next. I am next, and I still have my scene, and this worked out really perfectly because my top 5 Sandler movies are my 5 picks. So I got Click, 50 First Dates, and Uncut Gems is like that top 3. Then I picked a Happy Gilmore pick, and for my scene, I'm gonna pick a Billy Madison pick because there are so many great scenes for Billy Madison, and I could kind of cheat and pick because there's only 2 picks left, and Jacob's already said his scene. I could just tip a pick right now, but I could pick the entire academic decathlon, which is like a scene, but it's like it feels a little unfair because it's such a long scene because it encompasses so many mini scenes, but it is a montage. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to pick an actual scene. And this is a scene that I come back to. It's probably my favorite line delivery of all time is in this scene, but it is the peeing pants scene where Ernie pees his pants. And because I love it because it doesn't, it's not just funny, but it shows a good humanity to Billy. Like you kind of see his growth and maturity in the fact that he's willing to like put some water on his crotch to be like, oh yeah, peeing pants is cool. Yeah, you need to pee your pants. Oh, I want to be cool. Look, Ernie peed his pants too. And then my favorite line of all time is when the old little school nun or whatever she is, I guess she works at the reservation.
The
She's
tour
like
guide.
she's like a tour guide, yeah, but she's like dressed as like a little colonial woman. She's just like, if peeing pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis. And I think it's
most they ever heard.
I think it's my favorite line of any Sandler film. So I think for the line, for the moment, for the bit, but also just the whole endearing, like, oh, like that's sweet that he like put water on his crotch and tried to like, you know, like be like, no, guys, it's cool. Like just trying to stick up for his friend, even though he's a child. I just think it was great. Like it really was a heartwarming moment, topped off with just an iconic line delivery. So if picking a penultimate pick like this is cool, and consider me Miles Davis here because I picked this one. Very happy, very happy. Brian, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, of all the picks for Ben Madison, this is one of the good scenes there. Yeah, very iconic line. Consider me Miles Davis. Even for two league I was part of for a tournament, my team name was consider us Miles Davis and do a Ben Madison. But yeah, I do enjoy the scene. Yeah.
Yeah. Jonathan, do you like this scene?
Yeah.
Nice. Gotcha. Chad?
Yeah, I mean, the scene is the best. He's like, would you fall in love with the wall or something? It's like, I had an accident. You had an accident. What does that mean? Goo!
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goo! Yeah. Oh my God, I forgot about the goo. That whole like that's where the baby voice I don't mind it because it's so funny. I love it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, because it's used like a little bit. It's not the whole
sparingly, yeah.
movie. So yeah, I gotcha.
Goo!
But yeah, that's that consider me Miles Davis, that like throwaway line that just ends up being one of the funniest lines in the whole movie is a big Sandler movie thing where it'll cut to like the most minor character and then like they'll just have like the funniest line that you ever heard, like even like cut to Happy Gilmore with Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
Yes.
And it'll cut to like the most random character who have one of the funniest lines you've ever heard. And I just love that trope in Sandler films, and I think Dylan maybe picked the best one. So that's a perfect pick.
Thank you. Jacob, any thoughts on your favorite movie that now has been drafted 5 times? Billy Madison.
Yeah, as someone who works with kids, peeing your pants is not cool. Actually, remember this is a movie. This is not real life. This is this is for entertainment only. Peeing your pants is not cool. If you can make it to a bathroom, then make it to a bathroom. Don't just pee your pants to be cool because Adam Sandler said so. Yeah.
Love it.
And it's funny, like saying all the kids walking to the bus and they all piss their pants.
Yeah, it's just that whole sequence is also edited very well. Yeah, I think it's funny. We've drafted 5 Billy Madison picks amongst 4 people, with Jacob being the one who hasn't picked a Billy Madison, but then we've also picked 4 Happy Gilmore picks with Chad not picking Happy Gilmore. So those two films are pretty much the highest represented on the board. I just think it's fun that we have so much representation for those two films, but also so many other films represented as well. But Jacob,
And
you
two
get to
people
tell
have
us.
Wedding Singer as well. Don't forget
Right.
that.
That's right. Yeah, 2 Wedding Singers, 2 Uncut Gems, 2 Punch Drunk Loves. We have a few crossover. Big Daddy has twice. So we have a lot of good representation across the board. But Jacob, with the Mr. Irrelevant pick, 5-5, what are you going to go with here for the final pick in the draft, the Mr. Irrelevant pick for your, what is it, your supporting character?
Supporting character. Yeah, now I'm tempted to go
All right, Mr.
with
Brockberg.
with Happy Gilmore, just so you know, it's Billy Madison's not at the top.
Nah.
But again, I want my list to like represent different movies.
Absolutely.
And one of my favorite Sandler movies is Hustle. I absolutely loved this movie, and for me, I think the standout is I don't think he's ever acted before, and he completely exceeded my expectations. I'm going with Bo Cruz,
Nice.
Juancho Hernan Gomez as Bo Cruz. I think, I think he nailed this character. Bo Cruz, this guy from Spain, that Adam Sandler goes to recruit, and and tries to get him NBA ready, and obviously he's doing it for his family, and I think, yeah, like the work he puts in, on the basketball court, and then obviously, I think throughout like the training, and then the draft process, you see his growth as a basketball player, and I think Adam Sandler really is able to get through to him and help him out, because he's doing this for his family. Like he doesn't come from wealth. I think, yeah, and to pick an NBA player that's never acted before, and I think to get a performance like that, like it's not one of those top performances. Like you're not gonna like, oh, I can't believe he was snubbed at the Oscars, but like, oh wow, like he put in a really good performance, and if he was cast in another movie, like I would not be surprised, because I think he exceeded expectations, and I think, yeah, I had to get some hustle representation on here. There were a few characters in the movie that I was debating between, but ultimately I think Bo Cruz is one of the best supporting characters that I've seen.
Cool. Yeah, I love that pick, especially because also Sandler's such a sports guy. Like sports is his thing. So to get because he casts a lot of athletes in his films, like or just celebrity cameos. I mean, we talked about Bob Barker, but also like Kevin Garnett. Like he loves getting real athletes, and I think I believe he was on either the Jazz or the Raptors at the time this came out. Now he's playing in Greece in the Greeks league, but yeah, he was on the Jazz and then the Raptors when this was like big in awards season. But yeah, really cool story. I mean, and also a player that's well known, but I wouldn't say is like a top tier celebrity player on the likes of like the other, even Anthony Edwards, who's also in that movie. So I like
that was the other one I was debating between.
Yeah, it's just cool seeing these guys who you watch on TV play basketball, and then they're just like acting. It's like, wow, you're really good. So yeah, I love the pick. Chad.
Oh yeah. I actually had one hustle pick on my my list that I was debating whether, and it was actually going to be if I picked it, Ben Foster's character, because I think he's such a piece of shit villain of the movie, that I was like, he kind of blew me away, because like Ben Foster in other movies, I like him a lot. He's been a villain before, but
I feel like he's only been a villain, honestly. Right? Like,
really?
Oh. No, I mean, no, I'm making a joke. Like, I feel like I always see him. He's always playing a piece of shit,
Oh yeah. I mean, it happens, of course, but he's so good that like, yeah, he was so good that I was just like, I might pick him, but I think this is an even better pick, because he you said his name is Bo Cruz. That actor is really good in the movie, and I think that character is really cool, because it's like an unassuming guy going from just a nobody in a different country to trying to make the big leagues, and I just think that his underdog story is actually really cool to see. So Hustle was one of those movies that I threw on one night, and I just could not stop watching it. It's really good watch.
Yeah. Jonathan, any thoughts on this final pick here for Juancho Hernan-Gomez as Bo Cruz?
I will say this: like he actually really surprised me in the film. I know some NBA basketball players. I'm not more in depth at other or in players on the NBA to be honest. But I didn't know like if you ever told me like he was just an actor, not like NBA player, I was like, wow, he's actually really good in that movie. And I realized he was like a sort of like a player, real life basketball player. But that's like even more surprising, basically. Surprisingly acting very well though. Even when steal some scenes in the movie. So it was a very good selection by Jacob though, and it's a very great pick.
Yeah. Brian, any thoughts on Hustle, Bo Cruz?
Yeah, it's great. It's a good pick. I knew Jake was going to go for a hustle performance because he's a big basketball guy in general. But yeah, it's a great pick. Underrated pick as well. So yeah, it's a good one to end the draft.
Yeah, very good way to end the draft on a basketball pick embodying the sports. But everyone, give yourselves a round of applause. We have finished the Sandler draft. We have done it. We have gone for 25 picks here. I will rattle off the draft boards before we get into honorable mentions. But here we go. This was the Sandler draft. For Brian's draft, he has Shooter McGavin from Happy Gilmore, the More Gum Scene from Billy Madison, Bobby Boucher, the Water Boy, Layla Maloney from Big Daddy, and the Snack Pack from Billy Madison. Double Billy Madison picks there. Jonathan has the Bob Barker fight in Happy Gilmore, the Battle Axe jersey in The Longest Yard, Mavis from Hotel Transylvania, Barry Egan for Punch Drunk Love, and Veronica Vaughn from Billy Madison. Chad has Scuba Steve, the prop from Big Daddy, Hubie's mom from Hubie Halloween, Billy Madison from Billy Madison, the airplane scene from The Wedding Singer, and Lena Leonard for Punch Drunk Love. Dill, me. I have the Universal Remote from Click, Lucy Whitmore from 51st Dates, Howard Ratner from Uncut Gems, Chubbs from Happy Gilmore, and the Peeing Your Pants is Cool scene from Billy Madison. And Jacob has Julia Sullivan from The Wedding Singer, the Black Opal from Uncut Gems, Happy Gilmore in Happy Gilmore, the Technical Foul song in Friday, or I wrote down Friday Night Lights, I'm tired. 8 Crazy Nights. I wrote down 8 Crazy Nights, I just read it wrong from this distance. And then Bo Cruz from Hustle. So there we go. That is the draft. We obviously have to get into some honorable mentions. How I'm going to do it is I'm just going to start at Brian, then go around. Then the next time we'll start with Jonathan, go around, Chad, go around, so forth. So we're going to start with just Sandler characters. Are there any other Sandler characters, Brian?
For iconic character, right?
For what was that?
The iconic character, right?
Yeah, iconic Sandler played character. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any more on your list of honorable mentions?
Yeah, I have Sonny Koufax from Big Daddy.
Okay.
Dracula from Hotel Transylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And Robbie Hart.
Yeah, Robbie Hart. Gotcha. Jonathan, any other Sandler characters to mention?
Dracula is one of them. And from Hotel Transylvania, I'm going to put his character in Click. And also another character, even though he's more supporting in the movie, I'll put his character in Airheads.
Okay.
Underrated, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Chad, any characters, Adam Sandler characters to mention?
Just also Sonny and Robbie, I think, would have been great picks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also had Michael Newman on my list just because I wanted some Click representation. I did have Hubie on my list just because
Hubie Dubois.
He is the highlight.
I just realized something. I forgot what character. His character in Funny People.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Funny People. That
we forgot the main guy from his character from the Marvel stories.
Yes, so George Simmons from Funny People, and then for Meyerowitz stories, he is Merowitz. I think he's Benny or Danny Merowitz. Yeah, so that was it. But my big three were the ones that were taken. It was Billy, Happy, and Howard. So I'm happy. Jacob, any other Sandler leading characters?
No, just the ones that were mentioned. The only other two I had on my list were Robbie and Sonny.
Cool. Jonathan, you're going to start us off with leading ladies. Any other leading lady honorable mentions to bring up?
I don't know, which I'm still surprised she didn't get a mention. Julie Bowen's character in Happy Gilmore, or I'm sorry, are you?
Yeah.
I just
Virginia Venet, yeah, Venet.
Bennett, yeah,
Virginia Venet. Yeah, she was on my list as well.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And the other one I would have caught up. I'm gonna go. Oh no, short role, basically not in the movie a lot. Idina Menzel's character in Uncut Gems was another one. And basically, I'm gonna go. Although you know what, I actually like her in that role. In the third Hotel Transylvania, I'm gonna go with the daughter of Van Helsing, voiced by Catherine Hahn, actually. So it's good loyal to that. And that's it. That's all I can think of on that topic.
No, good. Chad, any honorable mentions for leading ladies?
Yeah, I was almost gonna pick a Fairuza Balk, Vicky
Hmm.
Valancourt from The Waterboy. If I didn't pick Emily Watson, but I ultimately went with Lena Leonard. And then also, yeah, I was between Julie Bowen as Virginia Bennett or as Violet Valentine from Hubie Halloween. I actually probably would have went with Violet Valentine more because I like her more than I like Virginia Bennett, actually.
Nice. Yeah, I had Virginia Bennett on my list. I also had Donna Newman for Click. I love Kate Beckinsale in that movie. And as a gag, I would have potentially, as if I were the final pick, I would have had as a gag picked Adam Sandler as Jill. But then I realized it's not a love interest. But I thought it would have been funny to pick Adam Sandler as the leading lady of Jack and
Very
Jill.
epic troll move.
But then we clarified the leading lady being a romantic interest. So I was like, all right, okay, never mind, I'll let it slide. Jacob, any other leading lady honorable mentions?
Yeah, Virginia Bennett, like you guys said, and then the other one that was on my list was Bay Bennett from Mr. Deeds.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, Winona Ryder.
Yeah, Brian, any other
They
honorable
also
mentions?
have Virginia Bennett and Vicky Corwin from Big Daddy the Sister. Julia DeFlore, Julia Fox's character from Uncle Gems, and Bay Bennett.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Chad, any supporting characters that you want to mention for honorable mentions?
Oh boy.
Supporting. Yeah, I almost picked, Mama Kathy Bates from The Waterboy. I already mentioned Julian / Frankenstein as Dylan Nicole Sprouse from Big Daddy. And then, yeah, Ben Foster from Hustle. There's so many. I could be just rattling off a ton, but, those are the ones I had on my list.
Yeah. If I couldn't get Howard, I was going to go for Kevin Garnett for Uncut Gems. I think he gives a great performance.
Nice.
The bus driver from Billy Madison. We've been quoting Chris Farley all night. I love him in that. Grandma from Happy Gilmore. One that I really wanted to get on, but I just couldn't with just all the picks that we had. But Dr. Buddy Rydell from Anger Management. That was one of my first Sandler films. I think after Billy Madison, Click, and 51st Dates, I believe that was like the fourth Sandler film I saw, even before Happy Gilmore. And I love Nicholson as this foil to Sandler. So I wanted to try to rep that film and him, but there was no room. And then Dean Trumbull from Punch Drunk Love, Philip Seymour Hoffman's character, was also in consideration for me.
Oh my god.
Jacob, any supporting characters?
Yeah, so I actually I only did a top 5 for each of these, and then I remembered Bo Cruz. So funny enough, none of my 5 got picked because I had Captain Insano from The Waterboy, Hal from Happy Gilmore, Rob Schneider's character from Big Daddy, then Mama Boucher, and Doug Whitmore from 51st Dates.
Nice. Brian, any honorable mentions for supporting characters?
Yeah, I have a lot. I have Eric from Big Madison, the bus driver. Hal Juanita from Big Madison. Whitey from 18 Nights. Nazo from Big Day. The Revolting Blob. I have on my list.
Yeah.
Max Henderson. Mista Lady.
I think I just killed her.
Bob Boucher. Mr. Larson. Martin Johnson from Five People, DJ Shmuley from You Not So Long by Bar Mitzvah, Rebecca, the teacher from You Not So Long by Bar Mitzvah, and Coach Klein from Our Boy.
There you go. A lot of great picks.
Coach Klein. Oh my god.
Jonathan, did you have any other supporting performances to mention here for honorable mentions?
I will mention Henry Winkler's character, Coach Klein, in The Waterboy. I'll mention Captain Deeds in The Waterboy as well. And the other one I will have mine, and if I'm going to Happy Gilmore again, I'm going to go more of a cameo. Ben Stillis, evil character in Happy Gilmore, though.
Yeah.
And basically, he's more of a cameo. And basically, Billy Madison, about start by Chris Farley, is hilarious. And basically, and also, although it's sort of a support, although it's more of a villain character, it's not sure. I keep forgetting his name. Brian Wilford's character,
Eric.
Eric, yes. And it was a good foil. And basically, those, his son and the Sprouse Boyer's character,
Big Daddy.
Julian Big Daddy, and those two punks, and you don't never seen the film. Two punks from Little Nicky. It basically they're trying to
Jonathan Lawson and Pierre Dante.
Yeah, those two. Yeah, and also that's hold on, trying to find something else, and I know there's one more in there. I got nothing. Well, although I know I got it. Bill Burr's character in Leo in the
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I forgot about that.
I also
Forgot about Leo.
forgot for me the heckler guy from Happy Gilmore. You suck, yeah, jackass.
Oh yeah, Joe Flaherty. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. Next we're on to prop. I start this one. I had a lot of props. This was my favorite category because obviously I put it on because I had so many ideas. Chubbs' hand, I feel like it was one that could have gotten picked that didn't. I'm sad it didn't. The putter in Happy Gilmore, of all the Happy Gilmore picks, I'm shocked we didn't pick the hockey stick golf putter. The Waffle House in 51st Dates, like the kind of little house she makes of the waffles, is so sweet and so cute. A lot from Billy Madison. The shampoo, obviously, for shampoo is better. The banana peel that is thrown out the bus is a good one. The sloppy joes, the lipstick that Steve Buscemi has, and
yeah.
the hit list and how he kind of crosses it off with the lipstick. I really, really love. So and then the iconic jerseys and everything too. I did want to rattle off my favorite shirts that June Squibb wears now that they are off the board, but Boner Donor, Happy Halloweener, I'd hit that. Kayaking gets me wet. I shave my balls for this. It's not going to lick itself. If you can read this, you're in fart range. And then Muff's diving school. So that was all of June Squibb's t-shirts and Hoobie Halloween that I would have loved to pick, but I couldn't pick one. So I was like, you know what? I'll rattle them off on honorable mentions. Jacob, any honorable mentions for props?
Yeah, just the Happy Gilmore ones that you mentioned, and then I'll just add the alligator's head as well.
That's a good one. Brian, any honorable mentions for props?
Yeah, I also forgot to mention Doyle characters from Magic was supporting. But for movie prop, I had Joe's hat as well. The golf club, Popeye's chicken, Huey's flashlight, the penguin, the blue duck, and Frank's shirt.
Okay, I love the penguin's a prop because I think there's someone in the costume, but I get it. Yeah, I might have vetoed it, but supporting character maybe the penguin. Jonathan, any props that haven't been mentioned that you want to mention? If not, that's okay.
Well, although it's not technically a prop, it's more of a vehicle. I'm gonna go Sandler's boat in 51st Dates. Basically.
That's prop, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If I were that boat, I might use that one honestly though. So basically, I would have used that, and also football helmet from The Longest Yard, the Mean Machine football helmet.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very cool logo design. Basically, if I ever sort of designed it myself, I could wear it. And I'm gonna go. That's kind of pretty much it. That's all.
No worries. Chad, you said you didn't have a ton of props, but do you have any more on your honorable mentions to bring up?
Yeah. You have a few. I was really, if I didn't go with Scuba Steve, I was really thinking about going with Hubie's thermos in Hubie Halloween because it's like all purpose and it just can do everything imaginable. Insane, this thing. And I'm sad I didn't go with it, but then I was thinking about more iconic, and I was like, man, Scuba Steve would look really good on that draft board. So I went with Scuba Steve. I'm not upset about it because that's a great pick too. But I also had the special water from Antarctica, the Water Boy.
Oh, yes.
And then I also had the I thought it was an Onday Smart Knot, but it turns out it's a harmonium from Punch Drunk Love, the keyboard that he finds on the street and just takes. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, there's a ton, but that's about it.
Cool. And lastly, with our best scenes, do we have any honorable mentions, Jacob, for scenes?
Yeah, the courtroom scene from Big Daddy I think is really good. And then Drew Barrymore just beating the absolute shit out of Rob Schneider in 51st Dates.
Yes.
Were a couple that I worked
even better nowadays.
Yeah.
Cool. Brian, any honorable mentions for scenes?
Yes, Back to School song from Billy Madison. Somebody Kill Me Please from Reisinger.
Yeah.
The retired by the stress shop where my fingers hurt. That scene. Happy Place, his happy place. And from Billy Madison, the decathlon, but the cooking class sequence.
Nice.
Where Eric burned himself.
Yeah. Jonathan, any scenes you wanted to bring up? Any honorable mentions?
Ooh, I gotta tell one. I'm gonna do a mouthful real quick. Basically, Billy Madison, the bus driver. Every time Chris Farley shows up, basically he makes his angry face when one of the kids throws at him, and you can see his face on the verge of gonna blow up on them. And also, Happy's boss basically first interacts with Shooter.
Oh
Basically,
yes.
it's just a little tiny scene I actually enjoy is like that. And basically, in Big Daddy, basically when he was forced to leave, basically they're in his apartment. Basically, I think
When Julian had to leave,
yeah,
I went by
Julian.
last scene.
It's like I'll be nice, I'll be nice. Basically,
Okay.
yeah. And I would go Sandler's face off with Felicity Hoffman in Punch Drunk Love, and
Yeah.
basically kind of tells him. And I would go, gonna go with the. That's although another funny scene is from The Longest Yard. One of the football players hurts Stone Cold Steve Austin after her and one of his players called a racist slur with him, and basically injures him in the field and everything. I think he just shit his pants. I
Oh
think
yes.
it just a lot just says it around. Basically, everyone just stays in it. So that was actually I enjoy, and that's pretty much all I can think of at the moment.
No worries. No worries. Great list. Chad, any other honorable mentions for scenes?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's so many I could try and rattle off too. But the ones that I've written down, other than the airplane one I picked, I also would have picked the "I wipe my own ass" courtroom scene where everybody ends up calling their dad and crying. It's brilliant. I wish somebody had picked that. I also had the Happy Gilmore one that I had was the final putt when the whole the tower comes down over his shot.
Oh yes.
And he has to do like a kind of an erector set kind of thing, and like
Mm.
tung 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 tung.
Yeah,
I don't know. I love that part for some reason. And he ends up winning, which is brilliant. I guess I love third act scenes. And then I also have I had a decathlon part from Billy Madison, but I would have specifically chosen the debate. Because I love that whole scene. I think it's really, really fun. And then you get Steve Buscemi popping in with the gunman. Am I glad I called that guy?
Yeah. My only other honorable mention was when he's watching the game in Uncut Gems and he's like, watching along and making sure all those parlays hit, which is like when the guys are locked out and he's running around the jewel store. That's just such a good scene. But yeah, I mean, everyone picked so many great scenes already. But I love all the honorable mentions. So thank you guys for doing that. And that concludes our Adam Sandler draft here. We finally did it. Long anticipated. I hope it was worth it. Brian and Chad, I know you guys have been anticipating this for a while, and we're so glad to get Jacob and Jonathan on for this. I want to go around quickly if anyone has anything to plug or any last little words to say. I'll start with Jonathan because you're a first-time guest. Great job for your first time here. Great picks, and it was great having you on. Anything to plug out there, Jonathan, or any last words?
Well, you can. I got nothing to plug at the moment, so I'm more of around. So, and just want to say thank you for having me on. I hope there's more episodes in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on. Jacob, anything you have to plug? Anything new with you?
Yeah, well, first, thanks for having me back. It's been a while, so I'm happy to be back on another draft. Plugs every Thursday at 10 Eastern. Myself and a few friends, we go live over on the Lonely Marks wrestling podcast channel, just talking some wrestling, and then I do trivia and lights out trivia. You can find me there as well. So
cool. Brian, any where to find you? Any plugs? And what do you think of this draft? Did it live up to your expectations?
Dyl, that is correct.
Don't take your shirt off. Don't worry, I won't make you do that.
But yeah, for plugs, I'll be back here again for the Disney Challenge in a couple of weeks coming up. Also do trivia here, part of the Best Factory Pizza Planet for Marvelous Week Mondays. Trivia on your lifestyle trivia, ASAS on Pearsco, Something's on Rankum, Something's on Multiplex. We're here Network. I'll be there tomorrow for the Year I Was Born, 997 Part 1.
Nice. Well, thank you as always, guys, for being on. And Chad, I know you're on here all the time, but you might as well plug it away in case someone's only watching this draft and never watches another thing on this channel again. Maybe you'll change their mind. Chad, where can they find you?
Yeah, sure. Off the top, I'll plug Cinema Chad, which is my channel where, mostly I rank stuff. I'm trying to do more reviews and stuff over there, but for now, we just do You Ranking with Me, which is our big ranking show. Dylan's been on there a ton of times. It's always a lot of fun. In fact, we have Dylan wasn't on this one, but we do have a giant Adam Sandler ranking that we did, and it was all now like 50 Adam Sandler movies. We put it off for so long that we ended up with 50, and they were like, let's do it now now that there's 50 of them. And it was just a big undertaking, but really fun
Was it
video.
filmed in one day though, or multiple days?
2 days, I believe.
Okay.
We filmed it. So yeah, we had to we had to go for the long haul there. But yeah, there's so many other rankings on that channel and stuff. So please check that out. Also check out Welcome to Primetime, which is my horror channel I do with my buddy Hunter, my wife Carrie, and then the Dyl Pickle Movie Network, where I do a lot of stuff, including Draft Day, but also Picture This, where we're trying to watch every Best Picture nominee ever, and it's a really fun project. But yeah, this was a blast. You guys were such great panelists, and thanks for making the Sandler draft so special. And a shabadoo to all of you.
Yes. Oh, thank you very much for this. Yeah, no, guys, you guys are awesome. I really appreciate it for doing this, and on short notice, because I know we had teased this draft a while, but just like finding a day and time that I could do it, let alone everyone could get on, was awesome. And Jonathan stepped in last minute for us. We had a panel ready to go, and then it was last minute switch.
Shout out to
Game
to
do it on football Sunday, so really, really awesome. But for our panelists, I couldn't make it on this time. We're hoping to have you guys on sometime soon. But thank you guys so much for watching this. Remember, go vote on Facebook. This isn't live, but this will be premiering the day after we do it, so it should be out now to vote on the poll. We cannot vote for our own, so Brian has to vote for another one. I know Brian wants to vote for.
I'll vote for Chad, or I'll vote for.
No, don't politic right here. We'll see after the fact. But yeah, vote truthfully, vote with your heart. There's a reason we leave the polls anonymous, so you can't just vote for your favorite person. Otherwise, we all know everyone would vote for. I'm just not going to say it. I'm just kidding. There's no popular favorite here, but you guys can decide. Exercise your right to vote on the poll, and go to the Facebook page to find that. So otherwise, thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, and shabadoo. Have a good night.